to take down the gun round of F4Q, and you know,
Karena
I'm baffled. But F4Q probably is even more because
apakah
look at
bisa
the
gitu
stats
ya?
right here. We've got May
Kalau
and
nanti
Soldat
tiba-tiba di
absolutely
rumah ini
going
berisik
off. You know,
dan
we were drumming up a
gak
little
tahu
bit of
lagi
heat
gua,
about them before
sudahlah,
this tournament.
bubarkan
We
saja
finally did
streamingnya,
Soldat do
oke?
the Soldat thing. Will he really perform?
Bubarkan
And the
ya.
answer is a resounding yes. And not just him, everybody else from North Eption has been showing that they are top class. They've got the caliber to roll with the big boys in Korea.
Anjir.
F4Q, I never would have expected the scoreline, not even close.
Oh, that is the first time that North Eption has been able to string together 3 rounds in a row.
Ini mah langsung saja nge-live, langsung saja, gak usah basa-basi tanpa nahan, enggak anjir, langsung nge-live.
Takes down 5K. Athena does get a stell, but Soldam waiting
Udah
in the
lama ya,
smoke.
pokoknya
Zumba is going to push through. Zumba has not done so just yet. Here's that Nano Swarm and is going to pop over to try to see if he can do anything about this plant. He does spot Bunny, has to dash out of the way. Athena still planting, takes him down. It has come down, but 10 is going to find Bunny on the side. Zumba all alone, Bulldog in hand, not able to outduel 10. And 11 rounds fall the way of North Eption. F4Q on the ropes. This has been an incredible performance from our Japanese team.
They are on the ropes, and they're looking like they need somebody to tag someone else in, because I am not seeing the F4Q that I saw
ini
in
teh
Berlin.
kan aku
I'm seeing a team that is a little bit
nunggu itu
discombobulated. They're confused. They don't know how to deal with
ya.
May, who's just walking into sites and
Nanti
taking duels and
setelah
tapping
beberapa
heads.
saat.
You got Sugar Zero and
Bentar
Estelle
lagi.
who's locking down
Maghrib.
every bit of map control that
Di
they
bumi
need
main.
to. And again, it all comes down to this information asymmetry that we have been seeing. A lot of the time, F4Q are left guessing as to what the best course of action to take is, because they've been denied by North Eption time and time again. And look at this, might be an aggressive push. It will be. They boost up onto that.
Biar nggak dikira gua emang copyright
they will be tried to
dari
flush
Valorant.
to be flushed out, and not really a positive gain for anybody.
Ya,
It was a nice attempt. I like the look there from North Eption. You're up. You might as well go for something a little crazy.
Copyright ini,
Unorthodox.
copyright.
You've got plenty of room if it fails.
yang merah tuh Evina.
So,
Berarti
there is a lockdown here from the attacker side. North Eption
Anu,
is going to have to go out one player. Was
F4Q.
Nintendo.
Apakah sama lah tadi?
Slow orb is down.
Tadi
Take just a second longer. Oops, Soldam gets
gagal
stuck in the corner.
Soldam.
Gonna get taken down. Afida finds 2 off of that. Now 5
3 lawan 3.
towards screens here. There are a couple members of North Eption. Let's see if they check this corner. Good crossfire set up
Terus
here.
menjaga angle ya. 5K.
Still lurking, and he's gonna find what gets the rest. What in the world happened? 5K all alone now. Tries to find a Stell. Isn't gonna be able to do it.
Okay.
Corner, not gonna be enough. And that
13-4.
is going to be match points. North Eption take them down.
Menang.
13-4. A resounding victory on Icebox.
I'm just left confused, man. What a great performance by North Eption right there.
Wah, ya jadi kita lihat jadwalnya dulu nih ya.
They knew exactly what they were planning, whether it was,
Berarti
whether it was a slow push,
F4Q turun,
rotation.
F4Q
They
ya.
just knew
Ya.
exactly how to handle every
Lawan
single thing
final
that
nanti
F4Q were
besok
throwing
ya.
their way. I have to give a lot of props to the individual players though. May, what an absolute force right
ini
there for
boom,
North
abis
Eption,
ini
who was
boom
entering the
lawan
site. If he
Newton.
wasn't getting an entry, it was like a double entry
ya.
every single time, or at the very least a lot of information and a lot of space bought for the rest of the team, which just goes to show that
tadi match
everybody on the North
pertamanya
Eption
gue
side
lupa sih.
contributing so much, whether it was on this game
13-6
or the
sekarang
previous
13-4. Kenapa nih
Yeah,
F4Q
this is
ya?
a team effort
Ada
all
apa dengan
around for
F4Q?
North
Padahal
Eption. Coaching staff
kemarin
is
mereka bagus-bagus aja mainnya
against F4Q was
ketika
flawless.
melawan
And,
Sentinel ya,
he's
pokoknya
somebody that a
pas
lot of my
kemarin
Japanese
Master
Valorant friends were
Berlin
talking up
itu
to me,
ya.
saying he's maybe
Mungkin
an
kita lihat
up-and-coming
database
superstar in that
sebelumnya,
region.
apakah
Somebody
ada
around Reina that he can really
kegagalannya
get
misalkan
done,
kita lihat.
I think so. If there's anyone to look out
Analisis, ya.
for, and what a time to step up at APAC LCQ when like nobody might be expecting you to be stepping up. It's him.
No, I was just tickled with how good North Eption was today, and 5Q for F4Q, a lot to
ini
work
group
on, a lot of things to
stage
think
ya.
about as they drop down to the lower bracket.
Nah, group
North Eption moves on, guys. We got to take a short break. We will be back up next. Got a great match coming up, so stay tuned. More of the APAC LCQ coming.
Coba kita lihat ya Master Berlin ya. Ini Master Berlin. Kenapa nggak ada suaranya? Wah, parah ya. Si ininya musiknya nggak ada. Nah, itu berapa ya? 13.5, 13.9. Tuh, ini menang loh lawan G2 sekali. Terus ini 13.8. Kenapa sekarang main sama nih? Ya, ini terbantai ya waktu itu. Terus lawan G2 lagi, balik lagi. Ya sama aja sih. Tapi pernah menang gitu lawan Sentinel nih. Maksudnya matchnya itu ada yang menang nih. Nah, kan 13-3 nih ngebantai ya. Ini 13-9 ya. Enggaknya ada yang ada perlawanan sekarang kayaknya agak kurang ya performnya. Nggak tahu kenapa mungkin ini. Kemarin mungkin si Bani lagi mencoba memakai jet karena yang sering biasa dipakai dia race ya. Kenapa bisa gitu kan? Padahal bagus-bagus aja menurut gua. Ya walaupun gitu kan. Kemarin pun ya ada yang terbantai musim terbantai, tapi seenggaknya satu matchnya itu dapat nih. Sekarang gimana ya, mungkin udah nanti deh 3 menit lah. Tunggu aja 3 menit ini dan kayaknya mau maghrib juga di sini ya. Tahu mau maghrib atau enggak, tapi kayaknya di sini maghrib. Gak ada musik yang agak menantang itu. Keren juga ya beningnya. Oke.
Welcome back to the Valorant Impact
Mungkin gua
last chance
open mic-nya dulu, Cak.
qualifier. We have
Dengarkan
one spot on the
casternya
line
ya.
for these 10 teams to move along, and my God, did Northception come to play today, absolutely dominating up against F4Q here. I mean, Icebox did not even look close. Black and Blue, walk me through this because it just looked perfect. I don't know what F4Q was supposed to do against Northception.
They couldn't. It's that simple, because I think, you know, from the get-go, you already saw that not only are F4Q not the best team on Icebox, but their composition doesn't make sense for them. You don't have a Sage, you typically would want the Viper. You don't have a Viper, you typically want the Sage. They had neither. What can you do with the Astra? You don't have retake. You don't have much to go on. And it was quite evident, honestly, this, you know, on the attacking side there, North, they would take the site and there was nothing that they could do about it. On the defensive side, North, they would hold down the line and there was nothing F4Q could do about it. They were just shooting themselves in the foot from the get-go, and honestly, even though they are insane in the brain when it comes to, you know, the mechanics and all, so are North. And you got players here stepping up to the plate, and not just, you know, the Korean hopefuls that we always see like Soldam all the time, but you saw 10 step up there. You saw May rather step up there, and both of them have been completely insane. And honestly, like 10 has been such a huge performer in this entire series, and they're really looking like one of, you know, the top teams we can expect to go really deep here in the LCQ.
I mean, it was just beautiful play from them. You can see May right there getting the match MVP. Just beautiful stuff on that Reyna. It seems like to me like 10 was just unbreakable on Ascent or on Icebox. It didn't matter. On defense, if F4Q were going to the site he was holding, they were not going to win that round. It was just simple as that for the team. Again, May, I mean, it just brilliant stuff coming through. Oserai, May just looked incredible.
I gotta say, May did not pop off on Ascent. Hold on. Yeah, I was talking about Ascent. Icebox, he was incredible, as you mentioned. And it felt like for Northception as a whole, they were a little bit less confident on Ascent. Even though they won, yes, when we came into Icebox, there was just no fear in the eyes of both May as well as Soldam. And it goes to show, they just kept charging it onto the site. They had perfect refrag setups. They had perfect crossfires that F4Q just did not really anticipate or respect. And every single round that they tried, maybe given just the one off that F4Q would probably win, you know, after like 10 straight rounds, it was always Northception to have that. Like you'd see probably Soldam get a kill, but he doesn't chase for the next one. He's gonna try to double up for May here, make sure that his teammate can get a tag in, get the heal back up with the Reyna, and make sure that they can solidify the round rather than try to be sneaky and, you know, be overly aggressive. And that's what I really like about Northception. Everything that they did in that second map was calculated and had a sense to it.
Exactly, right? It seemed like even they were controlling the information they were giving over to F4Q. I remember one round where they were just like so patient in what they were actually doing. They sort of faked rotates out while they were cutting noise, and in the defender spawn, there's just players from F4Q running back and forth between B and A's like, oh, they rotated out. Oh, wait, it's been too long. They're not actually there. What do we do? Where do we go? And it was stuff like that. Just seemed Northception had a grip over the game, and F4Q were absolutely scrambling to make things work. I'm going to pull up the bracket very quickly because this does have big implications for us. Now, with F4Q falling to the losers bracket, they're going to match up against Fennel, another team that did go 0-2 up against Boom Esports, but played some very competitive maps. It means 2 of our 3 Korean teams are in the losers bracket, which I think is a big shock, at least for me. And F4Q, oh my goodness. Northception, that's the one, as I scroll down my bracket, are going to face off against the winner of PaperX versus Global, which is going to come down to us a little bit later. So it's wild. I don't think anyone really saw the brackets unfolding like this, Black and Blue.
I mean, we talked about earlier on in the day, right, for the pre-panel of the second match that we've already seen quite a bit of upsets here. A lot of, you know, underdogs just really have more bite than their bark than people might have initially thought. So in this case, when you're the underdog, you know, you're going to be punching up and you're going to hit the chin every single time. And that's what's been happening here time and time again. Northception, they came into this, and as a whole, people would argue that Japan as a region is kind of, you know, under Korea right now. But based on the performances we've seen today, you know, Northeption, they make their kind of like international debut here, and they've been completely showing up to the pace and to the par. Honestly, F4Q, they tried some new things. They're not going that aggressive as we might normally see from them, like we saw from Berlin, which everybody was very, you know, I guess entertained by and really found super fun to watch, but it wasn't the most sustainable type of play style. But for them to really regress this way and honestly put some chains on themselves, they gotta relinquish these chains that are holding them back. Their icy cold bones are not gonna steady on long, and right now they have to find some way to get out of this hole that they've honestly dug themselves in.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to have to find out in the next couple of days whether or not they're going to be able to bounce back either with a change of style or sticking with this and actually making it work. But we're going to have to close the book on that series. Congratulations once again to Northeption for an incredibly dominant victory. Just 10 rounds over 2 maps to F4Q. And we turn our attention to our match at hand, NewTurn versus Boom. It'll be our debut here for NewTurn. First time seeing them play in a little while. And also, I think for NewTurn, this is a bit of a redemption for them. Now, after Iceland, this team struggled with the loss of Lakia, and now, the only team still in the upper bracket, technically, for Korea, they have a lot to prove.
What's kind of interesting about that specifically is, again, since this is LCQ, everybody is looking for that redemption. But I think more so here for NewTurn. I think when you look at the APAC region, everybody always looks at Korea to make the meta style of play that everybody else follows through, but I don't think that's possible, or that's the thing anymore for Valorant. So now I feel like NewTurn is on that edge where they at least have some freedom to maybe find themselves again. And by that I mean, going into their new roles, adjusting. We'll see how, again, as you mentioned, losing Lakia was a big blow. How does 10X actually fit into this roster right now that they had a bit more time to get adjusted with each other? And that is, I think, something that NewTurn and the rest of the teams here have to just try to do. And up against a team that they're going to go up against here, it might look much more favorable for NewTurn.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, right, when you talk about like all the roster changes, because Boom, on the other hand, another team that underwent some pretty serious roster movements with them trying to figure things out too. But I mean, Black and Blue, we saw Boom play yesterday, and it wasn't perfect, right? You know, first match here with the new team, but you saw a lot of very strong fundamentals, and I think this team has a really good shot here up against NewTurn.
What we saw yesterday, you know, when Boom was playing their match against Fennel, is quite honestly the Boom way. It's never clean, it's never super convincing, but they get the job done anyways, and that's how they have been, honestly, for the past year. Like, we've never really seen them be as dominant as they were during the early stages of Valorant competitive scene, and that has been true for the most part here right now. And where they have some pickups here, and then they got Berserks, you know, one of the best players that we got from Alter Ego, and they have pretty much the all-star lineup that you can get from Indonesia, barring the 2 players that you have on Paper Rex that are Indonesian. And so for Boom Esports, they have proven a lot early on, but have kind of faltered here. I think the big storyline here, Ender Nasarai, looking into this series is both of these teams are looking to redeem themselves, because both of them were really big kind of names in their own respective regions early on in the competitive scene, you know, stage 1, stage 2, but have kind of faltered off and are looking for that redemption arc here at the LCQ.
They are indeed, but Boom Esports, you know, they did get that win yesterday, already have the right foot forward, I guess you could say, heading in to this tournament. I think Flipshitter, obviously a player that stands out in my mind as having some pretty insane rounds. I'm curious, Asarai, for your opinion when you sort of look at this matchup, and you know, we haven't really had that much time to talk about NewTurn yet. Who the players you have in your mind as far as like the carries? Who do you think is so influential to this team in this matchup in particular?
Probably, at least for NewTurn, I'm always going to be looking at possibly Allow and 10X. Granted, It's always going to be the duelist that I'm going to be pointing out, but I think it's always been a very how do you say this? A very a very important aspect of each team that they do have that fantastic duelist to make do, and I think NewTurn has Allow that allows them to do that. And looking into the match histories that they had for the previous, NewTurn has had a very successful win rate up against every team that they've gone up against, except for maybe Damwon, Vision Strikers, you know, the big hitters in the Korea region. But here's the thing. we were talking about yesterday with Damwon how they might have gotten culture shocked with how they played up against global esports. Same could be said with Newturn here, because they haven't really had much experience, if none at all, when going up against teams outside of the Korea region. So Boom might be able to get a catch off with that kind of surprise tactic on their pockets.
Yeah, I have to agree. I do think that, you know, Newturn are kind of the favorites to win this series, but that gap isn't that big as some people might expect here. Boom, they're not the perfect team, they're not clean, but they do have lots of firepower on their hands, and they have a very aggressive playstyle sometimes, which could catch almost any team off guard. And I do think Newturn, they're susceptible to that, and that's something that it can kind of turn out against them, like we did see yesterday, you know, between some of the teams that like, for example, Global, who were just very, very aggressive and caught another Korean team off guard in Damwon. And that's something that Asrock talked about, and I fully agree that that's something that Boom are going to have to play to their strengths, because while they've got some great players on the side, Newturn, aside from obviously their duelists, they got players like Solo on there, who is just a complete kind of rock for their squad. I don't think necessarily that they are going to be able to always anticipate the aggression that Boom might just output at them at any given moment.
The aggression is something, I mean, maybe they've seen a little bit of it with F4Q. It's a different type of aggression, though certainly I have heard word we're going to get into map select very, very shortly. So I'm curious here, Asarai, what your sort of expectations are heading in to map picks and bans here, whether or not Newturn can get some of their favorites.
I feel like Newturn might have does have a bigger map pool than Boom Esports. If Boom have or want any form of chance to be able to win this, and yes, even though I'm a fan of Boom, I feel like it's going to be heavily Newturn sided. They need to be able to get the maps that they sorely want. And those are maps that I think are the standard Southeast Asian maps, such as probably Haven, Ascent, maybe even Split. Bind specifically for Boom, I'm not really the biggest fan of, because they have had, I think Black and Blue mentioned this, they're very wildy and rough with how they play on maps, and Bind is just the roughest map for Boom. Even with the addition of Frostmind, they still might struggle a lot on that particular map. So I'm not sure how this will go, but I think those are probably just going to be my thoughts. They have to be able to pick up the maps that I feel are just the most common to have been played, and that's the ones where I think they're going to be the most confident as well playing moving forward.
All right, so maybe Newturn want to eye a bind or something like that and get them a little bit more out of their comfort zone, challenge them with the new roster. Of course, it's one of those weird situations because we haven't seen, you know, the majority of the teams in this tournament play in quite some time with new players coming to the roster too. Maybe there's some tricks up their sleeve, so we can't rule anything out for either of these two teams in particular. But I mean, heading into maps like that is going to be very, very interesting to get underway. I have heard that it's coming very, very shortly. There it is. Map select on your screen. You know what? There you have it. Newturn get to start things off on Bind. Then we have Haven and Ascent. I'm just double checking this right now. I have confirmation. Newturn banned away Icebox, and Boom banned Breeze first of all. So that's what we've got there. Asarai, you were just telling me you didn't want to see the Bind. How are you feeling after this?
Told you, man. Here's the thing. The same reason why I'm not really the biggest fan of Bind as a map is because I really feel that it's one of the most straightforward maps that we have here. Even though you do have those teleporters and such, if you don't have that specific set of agents, such as what we saw earlier with the Astra and the Viper, I feel like there's just one way of going back and forth in this map, regardless if you're attacking or defending. And Boom really struggles with their attacking there. There was a moment where Flipsitter was playing as a Raze, and he was just trying to satchel into a site, but because the opponent team had an Astra, we knew how that was going to go. Gravity Wells always has kept him kind of grounded, and it really reduced the offensive nature that Boom really loves to try to go at, and Bind just does not work with him. It's like, you know, it's like mixing two dishes together that don't really work. You get something bad in your stomach. It's kind of like that for Boom.
All right.
I personally think that it's just your own personal bias that you hate Bind.
That's true.
I mean, every time we queue up in ranked and we get Bind, that's where it just starts to meld. But I mean, in all honesty here, I do think this whole map veto does favor the side of Newturn. Like, Bind is a good map for them. I will say that Haven at least could be some kind of stronghold for the side of Boom. Not their best map, but not their worst by far. But Ascent, I have to say that does heavily favor Newturn. That's the map that they've beaten both Fnatic on, and they've also beaten Version 1 on those both maps when they went to Iceland. And that's certainly not a map you want to be playing up against them in a final 3-map decider. For all things considered here, Boom, they are playing in an uphill battle.
Yeah, and I remember too, like, Newturn used to go for some eccentric picks on Bind as well, like a ton of Breach. Loved picking that agent over on that map, so it'll be interesting to see what Boom can do up against them. I mean, now we do have to get into the agent select conversation, now that we know we're heading into Bind first of all. So, Asarai, you're biased against Bind, I hear it. You think Boom don't want to play on this map against Newturn. Newturn good on that map, Boom not so much. What do Boom do in Agent Select? They've got new players. What do you want to see out of them?
Man, I mean, we talked about how Frostmine, or I'm not sure if we talked about Frostmine today, but he has been doing quite well from the matches that they had yesterday, and he's actually standing on top with Flipsitter. I think he's like around overall 41 kills, and Flipsitter is like 45 in the best of 3 that they had, which was quite fantastic. So maybe they could use that to their advantage moving into Bind. As for the agents that I'm looking forward to seeing, honestly, I probably would love to see Flipsitter back on his race. He only played the Jet yesterday, so I'm looking into that. And maybe with Frostmine being more of a flexible controller player, we could be seeing a Viper that Boom don't really know how to use, but with this new addition could probably have that, you know, femme fatale agent in their picks to pocket, or their pocket to pick out. Their pockets to take out into the fight.
You put your hand in the pockets, you pull something out. It's an A. Yeah. Do agents fit in pockets? I'm not sure the metaphor lines up exactly, but you know, whatever floats your boat. I love it. I absolutely love it. We're gonna get to agents like just in a moment here. But Black and Blue, does that? I mean, I know here in Asarai talk about Bind, probably not your favorite thing in the world, but did that cover everything, or do you leave anything out?
I mean, I do think that we're not going to get too many shakeups from Boom, at least on Bind composition-wise. For the most part, like the last 8 times they've played Boom, Bind here for Boom, they've had the exact same composition. You know, they've been pulling out that Viper, and from what we've seen here this weekend, the Viper has been quintessential to every single Bind map that we've had played on here. For the side of Newturn, they're a team that actually doesn't like really pulling out the Viper that much, and that does give me kind of a bit of, I guess, levity for the side of Boom, that they have that one caveat that maybe they can, you know, kind of utilize and abuse that Viper, if anything, on their side, because Newturn won't have anything to necessarily counteract that with their own Viper. But as you talked about, they do have that Breach, which would certainly be a big shakeup. It's honestly not a bad pick. There are a bunch of teams here in APAC that do like bringing out that Breach, and it can catch some teams off guard, because you don't necessarily see that in too many tournaments. In scrims, yeah, you'll end up scrimming some teams who play Breach on Bind, but it's not a very common thing that every team's going to expect. And so there's kind of pros and cons to both here, but I do think for Boom, while they are the underdogs on Bind, there's that one caveat that they have the Viper that they commonly use to great effect on this map especially.
Yeah, it is interesting looking at the comps, because I think I've got, from quick maths here, we've got like 11 games that Boom have played with the Viper on the map. But even thinking about like stylistically, like if a Viper's in the game, I feel like you'd almost rather have a Sky. Her flash is a little bit more versatile for getting through like Viper walls, pop flashing through that before you charge on forward. Whereas the Breach, very conditional about putting it on walls. Sometimes there's angles where it's just not going to be high enough to get over a Viper wall. Can be a little bit frustrating to deal with stuff like that. But when you're running double duelists like Newturn love to do, a Raze, a Jet, and a Breach, like getting onto a site is oh so easy. We know on like a map like Breach as well, like retaking B site can be very difficult, so sometimes just having a really decisive attack can be quite strong. And Newturn, I feel like one of the things that I sort of attached to Korean Valorant is their tactical play. When it comes to playing off of abilities of one another, when it comes to executing onto a site, it is very, very strong. And Newturn at their peak, absolutely insane when it comes to that. But while we wait to get into Agent Select, I want to highlight our duelist. Asarai, you said it earlier, the duelist, so good. You always want to talk about those Jet players. Well, here's 2 of the best. Allow versus Flipsitter.
I'll probably talk about Flipsitter first. This man is the shining beacon of Valorant Indonesia. Whenever people just come into chat from Indonesia, they always talk about Flipshooter. There is just so much love for this particular man right here, and it goes to show he has a ridiculous standing already from what we saw from yesterday. And I think the only thing that probably is lacking from this guy is his flexibility to pick up agents. Right now, he only seems to really just love the movement duelist, which is that Raze and Jet, and people might be able to catch up into that. But you know what? For now, it seems like he's doing well with this, again, kind of how do you say this, changed roster that Boom has had with, of course, Frostmine joining in.
Yeah, I think it's really important, right? And Black and Blue, what we've seen from the first 2 days, or I guess day and a half of play now, is that if you have really strong individual players, like they are seeking out a ton of duels, they're absolutely popping off, they're pushing forward and making it happen. So in a lot of our games, it has come down to players like Allow and Flipshooter being the ones to pop off, getting that difference, and coming away with a win.
Of course, I mean, it is a strategic game, of course, and there's utility in this game, but at the end of the day, that utility does influence gunfights, and what it comes down to a lot of times is these individual players making these big time plays in big time moments, and both of these players we got here are big time players, Flipshooter and Allow, so you're gonna expect a lot of that to come on in, and especially when you have, you know, players of this star caliber, you're going to want to enable them. That's honestly a big game plan that a lot of these teams have been doing. We saw it a while ago, just now there, when we saw, you know, Soldam and the rest there of their squad just, you know, helping them on out for Northception, for them to be able to kind of help enable him. And I do think that for both of these squads, that's something they're going to rely on quite as well. Maybe a bit more for Boom over Newturn, because Newturn are a bit more, how I guess, by the book, more strategic than anything, at least compared to Boom Esports, who are a bit more free-flowing. But that is also, you know, not necessarily a bad thing in of itself. Sometimes a bit of chaos is exactly what you need in a chaotic game.
Yeah, sometimes that's exactly what you want. All right, while we wait to get things loaded up and get into the game, there's no button, guys. They didn't let me have it, so I wish I could. I wish I could, chat. But I want to come to you guys and ask you what your expectations, what your predictions are for this series, because I feel like especially this series and the next one, we have a lot of indecision. People are going both ways. So Asarai, I'm going to come to you first. Who is winning the series and what's the scoreline?
You asked me the hard questions. You
got to answer though. You're not walking out of this one.
Yeah, I can't walk away like what I did a while ago. I feel for me, even though I'm a really, really big fan and supporter of the Southeast Asian representatives, you know, Paper Rex and Boom, I feel like Boom still has that kind of chaotic style that Black was talking about, but I feel that that's not going to be enough to go up against Newturn here. My prediction would be Newturn, especially if Newturn are able to Goomba Stomp Boom on Bind. I don't think Boom will be able to kind of recuperate from that. But if Boom miraculously wins, maybe they can get this into a game 2, maybe even a game 3. But I feel like, again, the quintessential round here or map here would definitely be Bind, because I feel like that is the thing that Boom needs to kind of create their mental fortitude to be able to win up against such a Titan team like Newturn, who have already said to, you know, have that have those kind of games under their belt up against other international teams and other international teams and actually do well. So yeah, Newturn for me.
All right, Black and Blue, you're up.
I mean, I have to go the same way, yeah, in Newturn, and I do think they are the favorites of this series. I honestly expected you to go for Boom here, at least Asarai on the series, but yeah, I'm going Newturn. That was my initial prediction, and I'm sticking with that because I do think on paper they are the better team. Now, that doesn't mean to say that Boom don't have a chance of winning this. I do think, as you also put it, that the big win condition for them is to take map number 1, is to take Bind. If they can take Bind, then we have a series. If they don't take Bind, I'm just not too confident in them to take the final map on Ascent, to be quite honest with you. We haven't seen too great things from Boom on Ascent itself, and so I do think while Boom have a chance here, they really need that map number 1, and as we talked about a while ago, there is at least something going for them with that Viper, and they probably won't have a Viper on the other end of things for Newturn, who like pulling out the breach, which also, to be fair, can be something that Boom might not expect. Now, speaking of unexpected stuff, they maybe earn a catch Newturn off guard at the start, but I do think even though if Boom get to an early lead, Newturn are going to be capable enough to adjust and, you know, kind of come back into it, even if they give up like maybe, who knows, 5-2 early on. I think Newturn have what it takes to get the reads finally, especially moving to the second half, and close out the game.
So Newturn can close it out. They win. Bind looking good for them as a map. But Boom, maybe, I mean, they could mix things up, you're saying, right? Like a Yoru, a KO perhaps, maybe could fit into the mix for them, perhaps. Ooh, I don't know. What else do we need to round out the perfect composition? Maybe just 4 more duelists, something like this. This could work. I'm putting something together. I'm concocting the perfect agent select. If you guys haven't noticed, we're still waiting to get into agent select. So we got to go through all the options because, you know, I feel like Yoru doesn't get enough love. Yoru just is getting slept on. I don't know. No,
there
Yoru
have been some teams that have used Yoru, but unfortunately, they're not here right now in APAC LCQ, at least for the Southeast Asian side. So that's kind of a sad thing. But at least, you know, it might seem that me and Black might be hounding too much on Boom, but I do also want to point out how well they were able to do from yesterday's matches. I did say that it is kind of interesting that Flipsitter does play into a Jet. I always remember him as a Raze, but he does do the Jet, guys. And what's kind of great about this, especially with the combination of Frostmine, is even with the addition of Frostmine, it doesn't seem like he's in his awkward teen transition phase in finding a group where he's just like, oh guys, can I join your group and, you know, be friends with you? No, he's like just straight into the Boom roster. I don't know if it's the voice would, but yeah, he got straight into the Boom roster and he started like duo stacking with Flipsitter on some of the sites that we saw from yesterday when they went up against Fennel, which was incredible. Like Frostmine would play a bait, then there's going to be Flipsitter with an operator, and it works out well for them. And maybe they can actually use that now on Bind, because usually one of the things that I also do like to point out that Boom severely lack, at least before, that we were able to witness during VCT Southeast Asia, is that they have a very, very easy time being attacked on the defending side. And maybe with a more concrete positioning of Frostmine and his ability to control, you know, angles, if he's going to be playing a Viper, that's going to be quite fantastic, I think, for Boom. That's going to at least make sure that they can breathe a little bit better on some of the angles here, make Flipsitter be more comfortable with his challenges on certain angles. And that could be a possibility that they could use here moving forward. And, well, if they can, imagine this. Boom have already taken out a Japanese team, and now they're looking for a big hitter with one of the Korean teams. So they're kind of doing a APAC bingo, so to speak, at least starting off in this tournament.
Knocked them off the list. I mean, at the end of the day, you're going to have to beat a lot of teams if you want to move on in this last chance qualifier. Again, we can go through the bracket again, because I have seen some people asking in the chat, like, what happened to F4Q? Are they out now? No, this tournament is double elimination, and this is actually the first time we're seeing Newturn play, right? This is going to be their debut here in LCQ. We already saw Boom win yesterday. Loser will go down, and let me just double check and get this right. The loser will go and face off against the winner, actually, of Reject versus Dom1, 2 teams that lost yesterday early on in the tournament. So it's definitely a situation where the longer you can hold out in the winner's bracket, just like significantly less games you're gonna have to play. I think winner's bracket, if you win out entirely for someone like Newturn, you're playing 4 total series if you win every single series, compared to losing today and you're playing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, potentially 6 for teams that lost yesterday as well. So if you're trying to limit the amount of games, limit the strain on you, you need to show up and you need to win early. And also, let's not forget, currently we have both Dom1 Gaming and F4Q sent down to the lower bracket. I think that, especially after Newturn's performance at that first international event in Reykjavik, people were really excited about the Korean region and their performance overall in Valorant. So it is a little bit shocking to see 2 of the 3 teams dropping down already in round 1, Black and Blue.
Yeah, for sure. And the funny thing is, you know, one of those teams already have that international experience to go in Berlin on F4Q, and then now we have another team who has that Masters experience from Iceland this time. And we saw after that, you know, and as we talked about, that they kind of have a bit of a regression ever since then. they've been struggling, plain and simply, to finally get something under the wings. They lost 1-2, in a 3-game series versus Damwon in their own respective Korean VCT, and they just haven't been looking up to shape as we might normally expect from them. They got, a player like 10X here who kind of struggled as well at the start, joining this roster, although he's kind of had an uptick in his performance later on, but we're still looking to see if he's really the most viable kind of replacement you could have for a player like Lakia. But to be fair, that is huge shoes to fill. Speaking of huge shoes to fill, well, on the other end of things, we've talked about time and time again, Flip Jitter, he's had, huge shoes to fill on the Dern King side, but he made work. And that's kind of what we're looking to see from a player here like 10X, who has lots of expectations put on him. But if you're a great player, those are just going to bolster you even more so ever than, kind of pull you down. It's not going to work that way. If you're a great player, it should, by anything, fuel you to kind of perform as best as you can. And right now, we're looking to see if Newturn's best can get back to their high performance of Iceland.
Here's something that might be a kind of comfort for fans of Newturn and Newturn themselves, that even if they have that slight chance of losing and they got dropped down to the lower bracket, they might actually go to a much more comfortable situation when they actually be dropped there, because that's where the team like Damwon and Reject are, and those are teams that we already know they've already kind of had dealings with, and that's probably going to put Newturn in a perspective where, okay, we don't have to study as hard as we have to do right now with teams like Boom, with PPRX, with the other teams that we haven't played against here, with like Global Esports. So that might be something like a little bit of a safety net, so to speak. So kind of just put it out there, just in case that they lose. But again, I feel like the chances are high that they win this one.
Okay. Still thinking they're gonna be able to take this. I mean, it feels so brutal, especially if you get down into the lower bracket and you're playing like teams from your own region. It's like, totally. I don't want to eliminate you, but I have to. We have to make it happen. I'm sorry, guys. It's just the way it works. Quick update for you all. I believe we're going to be trying to get into Agent Select very shortly. We had to figure out some ping issues, restart some PCs to make sure that everyone is geared up. We got a fair game on our hands. Everyone's going to be doing all right. And if you guys don't know, this is an online event, right? So players going to be playing from different countries around the Asia Pacific region, but teams are going to be playing on the servers just about even. So trying to get that ping as close as possible between the two. So it's not LAN environment, but it is going to be as balanced as possible between the two teams. So we've got to make sure that that is going to be set for our squads facing off here today, so that we can figure out who exactly is the best team remaining to get that final spot headed to Champions early on in December. It's crazy. For me, first of all, how quickly this year has gone by with, totally. I mean, everything, but even just the Valorant Champions Tour and finally getting to go and see that big world-class event all the way at the end of this year after just seeing our first international event a few months ago, it seems, in Reykjavik. So much fun throughout the year, and it's the last chance for all of these teams. We are just moments away. Everyone, Agent Select is on the horizon. We've teased you a little bit talking about Bind, the breach of Newturn, the Yoru of absolutely no one, because no one asked for that Yoru. But I will tell you, I've been doing some preparation on my monitor over here to the left. I've been glancing around here. And there was exactly one time where Newturn picked Yoru on Breeze. So I'm just going to put that out there for all of you. They picked it on Breeze, another map that starts with B. It feels like flawless launch, but we are finally into Agent Select. Everyone, we got the breach for solo, just like you want to see. Hyunny's actually going to be playing the Sky as well. Flash Central. Black and blue, that Viper you wanted to see. Both teams going to be locking in.
Yeah, very interesting enough, they do pull that Viper out. Now, normally, suggest here they would have it play something else, or if they would have a controller, it could be an Omen. They do kind of flex now into the Astra, but they do quite often, more than not, would have it maybe on a Raze if the Lao is going to be on a Jet. And in this case, they're going double controller, which I do think is quite a good thing I'm just curious that they're pairing that up with a Sky. Now, normally, you know, you kind of want a Sova breach, or you would have like a Sova Sky. Not having both a Sky and a breach typically is not too common, but that's what they're going for here. I do think that there is a way to make it work out. It's not the most conventional, but that doesn't mean it's not effective, and it can definitely work out for Newturn and for them to finally pull out the Viper here. I'm not sure if Boom have what it takes to be able to counteract that now that they also have a Viper to worry about on the other end of things. There's a hope here, there's a chance, but Newturn are definitely at the top.
All right.
I am happy to see Flipshooter back on that raise. Of course, Asrock, that's something you in particular were actually wanting to see from him, especially here on Bind.
Belum mulai.
Again, I really do miss how he's just able to kind of charge in onto the sides with the double satchel. I think it's much more explosive than the Jets, and with the composition that they have, I think it makes a lot more sense. If Boom had the capabilities to use a breach, I think I would probably be looking at Flipshooter be playing with that Jet. But since it's not, I think Raze makes a lot more sense. At least the paint shells will be able to clear out certain angles that the Sky might not be able to. So that's something that's pretty cool. And Eeyore, just wanted to point it out as well, he really is that anchor Killjoy player. So we probably won't be seeing him on anything else other than this one, but that's not really a bad thing. He's been fantastic with the Killjoy, even from yesterday's matches.
All right, thanks everyone for bearing with us while we got our teams ready to jump on to the map. We're gonna send it to our casters and get this series underway.
Alrighty, thank you very much, Ender and company. But guys, it's finally time. I think they had to stretch this out a little bit longer, Paper Thin, because they know it's been a while since you and I have gotten to commentate Valorant together, and they wanted to just make us wait a little bit longer. Put some salt in the wounds. As was I. I've been sitting here. I've been energized. Pound and energy drinks to get ready for this. But here we go. We are back.
How excited were you to see Viper on Newturn? Let's just get this out of the way.
Well, incredibly excited because they've never played it on Bind before. But then, surprised to see that it's going to be Hyunny coming out with the Sky. So it seems like he's going to be receiving a little bit of the Lakia treatment over on the side of Vision Strikers. Not going to be seeing a Sova. He's going to be sticking in with the Sky here, and Allow gets to maintain his jet play. Push around the corner, though. Allow gets a quick little spot in. I'll just force the pull back for a moment as they retreat over onto the B site.
Yeah, I'm a little bit shocked to see Hyunny not on the Jet, just because in particular with the change to the Blade Storm, we saw Hyunny be absolutely filthy with it in Korea. And Bind was also the map where he single-handedly crushed Newturn during VCT Stage 3.
I'm glad you mentioned it, because if not, I was going to get in there. But yeah, this is where he basically made a name for himself and got the eyes, the attention of Newturn. With flash out around the corner, Hyunny going to be looking to pull back. It's actually going to be suggested goes down. Blaze King with a nice headshot, manages to find a second. Go down as Lau finds that kill, but he's quickly traded out as Flipshooter will go ahead and put a fork in it. Newturn going to lose out of the pistol round. Boom Esports starting things off quite nicely.
Yeah, kind of an awkward one there for Newturn. They're not really able to find anything through hookah, so they all have to go through long B and just kind of one by one make their way in, and some good flashes, some other things along the way kind of gum up the works, and Newturn's just never really able to gain much space as they go towards B. The toxic screen was over on A, not really able to cover much of their progress there. And let's see if they can regroup, reassess. There is that Marshall coming down for Allow. Suggest has, I think he's got maybe a Sheriff in there. The Sheriff's still bound for Newturn.
Yep, across the board, Allow just with the Marshall. Quick little fault line out, gets a brief daze in on the cross line, but he'll be okay. Flipso manages to find Solo. Gets him in the headshot there with the Ghost. So already Newturn going to be a man down, and Allow is also taking quite a bit of damage. You can get over to Hyunny and will get topped up. But without one of their flashers, this is going to really slow things up for Newturn.
Well, and we know how much Solo likes to control hookah with this breach. It's a big part of Newturn's success on Bind. They've been very successful on Bind in Korea. Outside of Korea, maybe not so much, but particularly there, they're known as one of the best Bind teams we have. And a lot of that starts with Solo being able to control hookah and make play calls off of that. If they can't control hookah, oftentimes he has good fakes that he can sell and re-rotate to A.
Couple doggos just going to go for a little stroll in the dog park. They get cleaned up. Not sure how much information they were really able to garner on either side. So they might not know that Asrock is just waiting right inside of the garden here with this stack. The blind comes out, Allow falls down. Hyunny joins him. Blaze King finds another 2 kills. Seeker's already online.
Betul
Just
dong.
suggest in parry left alive. One creeping into hookah, one
Enggak.
up short A.
Apa
They're
nih?
split apart and likely just looking to give their lives to get some bonus currency. Parry will find a kill. You're down for a little bit more, but can't get that shot in on the enemy Astra. And Parry will just go ahead and give his life to the cause. So 3 kills in the end of the round there for Blaze King, and it's a 2-0 start for Boom.
Yeah, the aggression here by Allow not really fooling anybody. There's not much left in the utility bag for him to escape. A lot of it was used early, so flash around the corner there, coming out from Blaze. Does a good job catching him, takes him down. Marshall gone. Again, that early pick onto Solo really kind of hampers their ability to control the middle part of the map. Yeah, Parry finds one, that's nice, but the problem here now is you invested a lot of money into that last round for New Turn, and you're left not being able to get rifles.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty light there as far as the purses are concerned. And as you're kind of, getting to Solo getting picked like that, all of a sudden that double flash potential where you really want to just lock somebody down, hit him with a fault line, get that stun going across that daze, just flash him to hell, and then manage to push in, get that kill. That all goes out the window and becomes much less reliable. So cannot afford to get picked off like that. Now, in an awkward position as far as the economy is concerned, we'll have to see what New Turn does, but seems like for a brief little moment at least, we do have a pause.
Yeah, really it's tough if you're a breach and you don't have that breach player alive to control either showers or hookah. Really important to set up the crossfires on either site. Those fault lines, like you mentioned, really impactful in those specific areas. The flashes help, of course, as the desk was talking about. The flashes can only be used through walls, so it's not like the sky flash where you can land it inside of a smoke or outside. There have to be specific hard points for you to hit with it. So losing him early, especially in an eco round, is devastating. But again, a lot of money was invested there for New Turn in their anti-eco, and now they're stuck back on Sheriffs and Frenzies trying to do something here, and it's a big-time bonus for BME. They might just well go up 3-0.
Yeah, are very well poised to do so. We just have to wait and see, be a little bit more patient, get things underway. There we go, a little bit of a technical pause. Just want to make sure that everything is up and operating as smoothly as possible here for both of these squads. If we get any word as to what's going on, then we'll just check it out. Seems like it maybe is on the Boom side. So we'll just wait for that to be alleviated, and then we can get things underway yet again.
Yeah, really great start here for Flips Jitter as well. Once again, doing some good stuff with this Ghost. And he's banking so much money right now. You can see there on the right hand of your side of your screen. He's already sitting on 5,200. We'll see if that's not too bad. Yeah, for round 3, maybe you sneak an operator in there. We see this with some teams where they'll like Global Esports will just fully commit a lot of their resources to a very early operator to really establish some dominance. I don't know if that's going to happen here, but that would be kind of I think a neat little thing to see.
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe he wants to play it out a little bit more cautiously, since he would only have 100 to spare he would only be able to afford a half armor. So probably wants to wait until he can more comfortably make sure that he's up at 150 if he wants to go for an operator at all. Seen some change-ups here across some of these teams as far as who's running what. I mean, in Boom's first matchup going up against Fennel, we were seeing a KO-opping on Ascent, so there has been some changing of hands when those operators are concerned, but Raze, I guess, was kind of the second most common one, at least for us over in the Korean region, when we did start seeing, RB picking up Raze, picking up the op on, maps like Haven, using blast packs to get into nice peak spots at the very start of a round, try to get a shot off and then exit. But not everybody has really gone for that style. It's mostly been an RB thing.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. In Korea, we haven't really seen much operators outside of the Jets. So I think that you could probably say that for most of the world, of course. And I'm a little surprised that if anybody was going to try it besides RB, I would have thought maybe Bunny could handle it. We've seen those blast packs where he can, sidestep himself essentially very quickly. It's not as impactful or as fast as a Tailwind, but he could do it, and he reacts really quickly. So we didn't see that today. I think you and I are kind of in a bit of a tailspin with the Korean region. Achilles. It hasn't been the best tournament so far.
I mean, let's just be fully upfront about it. This is no longer a conversation about oh, which Korean team is going to make it through and be dominant? This is a question of can at least one Korean team keep themselves in the upper bracket? Newturn's looking to do it. It's a rough start, but it has been it's a little bit of a renaissance period right now for the other regions here in APAC, who are just looking absolutely excellent. Boom, you know, a little bit of a rough start, a little bit of a closer series versus Fennel than they might have liked to have played. They probably wanted to win that a little bit more concisely, but overall, they look quite strong. They had some pretty streaky moments for sure on both of those maps that they were able to play, but I was talking about this on the desk yesterday with you, that you know, they are the sole representatives of their region. They're looking to be the beacon of light for Indonesia, carry that torch forward, and show that they can be a competitive region. And taking down Newturn, I mean, by God, that would absolutely be a statement.
Oh, and I would love to see it. I've been really excited to see these regions all playing very, very well across the board. I mean, the Japanese teams, of course, with Northception really handling F4Q quite nicely. I thought Fennel played Boom very close, very nicely. Boom, in general, looking pretty good. A little bit inconsistent, as has been their MO, but they always seem to find the magic towards the end of their rounds to really recover nicely. And that just goes to show how good the mental fortitude is for these teams. And everybody wants that one spot, of course, so badly to go to Champions at the end of the year, to add, you know, more presence from their regions. You know, everybody here in Asia is really trying to prove that they belong, that they could compete with those North American and European teams.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, the teams that already have made it into an international event, such as Newturn going to Iceland, F4Q, Paper Rex going to Berlin, you know, those are the teams that have the biggest targets on their backs, because these other squads that have been middle of the pack or just barely shut out of events, you know, or were defeated by these teams that have made it forward to these international events, they're saying, no, it's my turn. You already got a trip to Germany or a trip to Iceland. It's my turn to go to Europe. So they're going to be fighting tooth and nail to make sure that they can get that happening. Guys, we should be exiting this pause in just a moment. Appreciate you bearing with us. We should be underway yet again here very shortly, so we can see how this round is going to go. I'd love to call it a bonus round, you know. It is, but for Newturn, this is not exactly the bonus that they were looking for.
Definitely not.
The deficit. It's a deficit round.
Yeah, the stocks are down for sure on this one, and it looks like it is going to be Spectre picked up here for Flip Shitter, so not going to try anything crazy, like grabbing an op early and seeing if they can snowball that into a big-time lead. There is the Seekers there for Blaze already, because he has been having a phenomenal round. This is just going sideways so bad for Newturn to start on this attacker side. Maybe they can find an eco here. We've seen, again, quite a few today. Looks like B is going to be where a lot of the Newturn presence is heading. Immediately going to check for some information. There's another flash. It's been tough for Newturn to deal with.
Blaze King. Let's get dazed up there for just a moment. Dog's going to spot quite a few people waiting outside by the teleporter. Another flash going to go out, but doesn't want to try to follow up. Just being the ult orb. Get that ult online, but Solo takes a huge chunk of damage, down to 21 HP. Get some TLC here from Kenny.
Kembali ya dengan si Flip Shitter yang tadi gangguan.
They want to press the issue on long B, but it's just fantastic holds here from Blaze. I mean, he's getting the information early with the guiding lights to see that, yeah, Newturn is still being aggressive there, getting a little bit of damage. The Seekers go out a little bit early, but Flip Shitter pops out and gets Solo.
Really nice little peek there. Flip Shitter and Solo just not quite ready for it. In the process of trying to destroy the Seeker and couldn't transition his aim fast enough.
Agak bagus ya permainannya, tertata. Nah kan.
Before push in, Hyunny with a nice headshot finds Blaze King, but Asterisk instantly trades one back.
Oh my god.
Blinds out, but Hyunny lines up another shot. Gets him in the skull. Frostmine will take him down, but allow having recovered a Spectre. It's the kill onto Frostmine, and now it is just Eeyore. Slow to start for him in their first series versus Fennel, but as he pushes into the site, manages to find one, and Perry has just 15 health remaining.
What a turn there from Eeyore. On the side is Perry. Doesn't take any damage, gets quite a bit into Eeyore. It's pretty even on the health bar here on this defuse, and it's going to be Eeyore who's going to get the trade. Well done,
Eeyore.
Phenomenally played there from Eeyore, down to 13 HP. I mean, Perry
ya,
really made him work for
belum
it.
sih menurut gue sih
That
belum ya.
moment, but he clutches it out.
Karena si Newturn ini 3 kali menggunakan eco ya.
See what Newturn can do,
belum
they should be getting some
menunjukkan
actual weapons into
taringnya
their hands.
mungkin ya.
Whether or not that is going to be
Tapi,
enough for them, because you have to
Indopnya
expect
tetap Indop
they lose
kayaknya.
4 in a row.
Tapi
This is going to be catastrophic. We might even
karena
have to
kan
see attack pause.
tadi senjata si
Yeah, I think
Newton itu
I'm
3
right
kali
there with you. I think if they can't win this
berturut-turut
round,
itu
absolutely you gotta go for
Ika
attack
ya,
pause and
pistol,
really stop
terus
the
ada
bleeding.
yang
We saw a little bit of money
pakai
there. 2 good shots with the sheriff to open up
Marshall
some
ya,
space. And
tidak habis
you know,
ya
honestly, that was a pretty
dari
good round for
mereka itu.
Newturn, all things considered. Being on, you know, a bad round economically to get 4 kills to do some economic damage, you at least. You know, ER still on the Spectre, of course, since he survived, but you at least got some pretty good value out of that round. You got the spike down. Economically, it wasn't the end of the world for that round 3.
Okay, well,
Kita lihat round 3 ini masih belum dihitungan round 3, tapi Ior tuh
again,
pakai
see the Trailblazer comes out.
frenzy.
Spots one on the side, should have spotted Eeyore as well. They're going to be looking to try to get the pinch here on a Blaze King, but Lau,
delay
getting
bagus
blinded, tries to pull
sekali
back.
di delay
A little bit of damage,
itu.
smattering of it on that exit,
Agak
but
bagus.
will retreat with his life intact. So in the meantime, is he prepared?
Hampir.
Spray comes out, quite a bit of damage into Flip's Jitter. Both of them
Hampir
half,
saja
54 here
Flip
for solo,
Jitter
38 for
mati.
Flips.
Ya.
They both look to go their separate ways.
Healing
Healer a little
untungnya.
bit closer. So Flip Jitter just going to get pushed back up to 100. So
Tuh, ternyata ya.
turns back in with Yone.
Man, what a great little move by Flip's Jitter. Almost gets solo out of it. Now it's Frostmine trying to control lamps, but right now it is going to be Newturn maintaining it. Spike is down.
Solo taking a bit of damage.
Hampir mati
Spike
itu dia.
getting planted again as there's a nice little delay. I
Spike
believe
planted.
Frostmine with that snake bite. Push around the side, Asterisk. Look at the spray down two. He will find it.
Asterik udah dapat
Just
2,
responds
sayang
to Eeyore goes down
sekali.
as Allow will find 2. As he just goes ahead and gets another on top of it, getting rid of that
Asteriknya
counterpart
udah
fight there. Now it is
bagus
just gonna be
itu.
Blaze. Last one left standing in a 1v3. Everybody relatively healthy. Might just have to play this out, try to look for some exit frags, and otherwise hold on to the rifle.
Yeah, I don't think there's much that Blaze King could get out of this. Yeah, he's got some guiding lights, but the defense is going to be too strong. The crossfire is already set up for Newturn.
Lumayan lah, hitungannya
Over-aggress
lumayan
onto
ya,
this
karena
and throw a
nggak
gun
mati
away.
semua ya.
Yeah, that was. I thought the spike was already down there. I thought the sound cue had made that noise when it hits the ground, but just in the nick of time, they were able to delay it a little bit. Didn't end up mattering too much in the end. Yoni and Solo did go down, but Allow and Suggest doing things that we are very used to seeing them do in Korea. Step up big, find some big kills, and really keep Newturn alive in this. They take their first win. It's 1-3, and now if they could string another win together, they could very quickly find themselves evened up in this.
Masih ada, tapi Asterik
Keep
memakai
trending in that direction.
Bulldog
Will
ya.
do a nice chunk of economic damage here to the side of Boom. You can already see Asterisk gonna have to move over. Not quite gonna be able to get a full rifle.
Bridge-nya kayaknya dibelikan itu tuh.
Bulldog instead of a Phantom or a Vandal.
Blinded.
Still be incredibly deadly if you get that scope
Gliding
and
light.
nail that try shot.
A mini rifle, you know, almost there, and it's just not quite enough. But it's not bad at all. The Bulldog, you know, you see people just hit some nasty shots with that burst fire on there. It is also you know, the cosmic divide here for Asterix. The potential retake could be made a little bit easier. Allow still sitting on that Blade Storm, hasn't popped it just yet.
Oh, gagal.
He's just so blind. There's nothing that he could do.
Satu.
They do manage to at least make it a 1-for-1, but down there,
Hilang
Jet,
satu-satu ya.
not going to be seeing a Blade Storm out now.
Ior mati, padahal ada
It's a nice little
lockdown.
beat
Sayang
out.
sekali ya
Overall,
itu
gonna be
buat
feeling pretty good
retake
about getting that
Ior.
1-for-1.
I wouldn't mind if Allow wants to
Yang
keep
mati
pushing long
malah
B to see Perry
Ior
pop a star
bukan
there to
Blaze.
give them a smoke or a gravity well.
I've got your
to
trail.
really
Healingnya
give them the
masih
saber
ada ya,
exit.
sama-sama
Second
ada
time we've seen
healing.
Allow caught. Looks like it's going to be the toxic screens coming up as it looks like an A hit from Newturn this time.
30
It
seconds
does, but
left.
it's actually going to be Solo creeping into the B site with the spike. He's currently making his way into Hookah, so they're trying to fake this out.
Frostmine.
Join in with him, but
Nice
Frostmine does
sekali.
catch Gunny off guard. He's now making his way into the site. Still have Blaze hovering nearby. He's making his way back over to B as he does hear that plant going off.
Flannya di B dong.
Now they're just going to go ahead and rotate through. So just trying to see if anybody's going to come out this side, try to take the TP, but now they have to get over to the site. The defuse is coming in. I don't think they're going to be able to stop this.
What in the world happened over here? This is not going so good. It did get stopped just in time. The flash slows up Suggest for a second. Another one as well, and the defuse being held by Flip Jitter. They are going to find it. That's going to be the round win. Suggest pops Blaze. But that was not so good for Newturn.
Yeah, that was not it. I mean, Blaze just
Oh,
so
lucky
close. He could hear that spike getting planted, calls for the
Oh,
reinforcements.
solonya
No
itu
one takes
sayang
the bait.
sekali.
Nobody moves over towards Suggestions. He's just waiting, staring at Lamps. They all just rotate
Kalau
back
dia
around.
nggak masih
They
bisa
get the
tadi,
kill instantly onto Solo.
sebenarnya
Cannot hold his own.
karena
And from there, it just kind of falls apart. It looked like maybe there was going to be a window of opportunity after they voluntarily got off of the spike, but they still had so much time to play with so many members. They just said, no, let's wait for reinforcements. Don't try to hold it. Don't get yourself killed. Let's make sure
Alright,
that we maintain
Korean
his
Jet nih.
rifle. So wonderfully played from the side of
Yeah.
Boom. New turn, a cheeky idea. It was going somewhat okay up until I'd say Johnny died in Lamps.
Well, and also, I got to give Boom a lot of credit here. They clearly did their homework. That's something that Solo loves to do, to fake those A hits and then rotate right back through Hookah, try to get the spike down, and it doesn't fool them or Blaze at all, so it's a great adjustment, a great hold here. Blaze really showing
Apakah
why
akan
he's
langsung
widely
ngedash ke dalam
talked
masuk
about from this
seperti
team as being one of their
Escarosi?
top
Tidak.
fraggers. He's very, very difficult to deal with that Sky. He's done such effective work there on Long B, keeping Allow at bay. And once again, we've got a lot of members
Let's
stacked up
go!
on short A for New Turn. Is it going to be the big hit? The Rolling Thunder is going to come through and open up some space.
Yeah, looking like a fast hit, connected onto one. Not quite sure if it managed to find Flip Shitter. He was back over towards the spawn. Either way, Allow gets himself situated, moved up here. The Lamps now just waiting around the corner. Reminder that right click will only kill one. Not going to find any resets. And that's just going to be the TP out as they go ahead and say, okay, we got the lockdown. Shift over towards the opposite side. Blaze King, however, waiting just on the other side of this nebula. He's going to be ready to strike. The drop downs come in. He gets allowed to back. Skull Eeyore's here for the crossfire. Managed to take two down with him. Rocket goes down. Shitter absolutely blows up Solo and Suggests with a long wraparound. Just now arrives and with no time remaining, he's got to get these kills.
Now, this is going to be a tough order for Suggest. And I think he's got to
ya.
back off and try to save this Vandal. They're going to be in economic dire straits. I mean, Allow was able to save some money by using the Blade Storm that round, but at the end of the day, it's going to be 5-1 here for Boom. Just, again, not being fooled at all, just completely gumming up the works, reading those rotations, reacting quickly, putting themselves in spots where New Turn's not ready for it. I mean, Blaze being off in that corner on top of the box just completely wrecked New Turn's push, and they were able to get a good crossfire there. I think it was Eeyore who came up through alley. That was just so well read by Boom, so well reacted to. The timing's phenomenal from them.
Yeah. Very nicely done, and
semuanya boom defend, gak ada
back over towards B.
tackingnya.
Blaze just hanging
Dia
out that
nge-pick
side, so
tapi
no,
defend
it's
ya.
always going to end
Gak
up
tahu
coming back
kenapa
to B.
mungkin udah ada persiapan
well,
untuk melawan
Is prepared, manages to take somebody out with him, and just completely cancels that Blade Storm as well for Allow.
Biasanya si boom ini jarang
Wall's going to be coming up.
defending duluan gitu ya. Kalau emang dia langsung ya udah langsung.
Gonna go down. The snake bite plus the paint shells results in his death. Now the boom bots in. Allow is annihilated. He's just keeping this spike in New Turn's hands. He is not letting them get this down to the ground.
Oh, Blaze is even going to get Solo in the side of the head. And
Unbelievable.
Yanni and Suggest, dude, I wanted to talk about this before the map even began.
Ini gak kedengarannya karena ada ulti Asterion. Asterik lagi-lagi sangat bagus itu tadi.
With the everything. Everybody on this roster has the ability to control these
Gua
plant
kayaknya,
sites. And
ya,
so you think if you're
lagi.
New Turn, all right, we're going to cut off a narrow corner here. We're going to use the Toxic Screen and the Cosmic Divide to make sure that that corner of the A site is completely cut off. But it's actually not because utility goes through the Cosmic Divide. It's just not safe, and they do such a good job with it.
Utility goes through, but audio doesn't really, so you're not going to be hearing these things coming through. You're not going to necessarily hear the boom bot. Know that it's right on top of you. Know that the paint shells are ready to explode. And the other thing here that makes it so easy for Boom is that it's such a small target area. They know exactly the only place that this spike can get planted.
Nge-save padahal itu nggak usah dicari. Itu ngapain multi-multi kayak gitu itu. Nafsu kali jadinya.
That boom will suffer here.
Kalau tadi nggak di-pick itu, ekonomi dia kecil itu nggak naik ini si
it's just more economic damage being done to New Turn, and the rich get richer here as New Turn is going to have to take a timeout. They gotta right the ship now. They gotta find some kind of footing here to try to not let this first half just run away from them on their map pick and bind. Not that the rest of the maps I'd be super concerned for Newturn. I think, Haven has been a problem for them globally. And then when they came back to Korea, a lot of teams kind of learned from the mistakes that Newturn had in Iceland, the kind of, weaknesses that were exposed there. But overall, I think, this isn't going to be the end of the world if they lose Bind, but definitely Boom looks to be the better teams here so far. And I gotta wonder about this kind of decision with the Jet. Not putting Hyunny on it, Achilleos, has me scratching my head a bit.
Yeah, I mean, clearly this is something that they've been, scrimming with, obviously. They wouldn't just come into this blind. But I think my initial takeaway from this is maybe they saw Hyunny. Obviously, he made his debut. He was playing on Jet. He looked absolutely phenomenal. He said, man, this guy is incredibly mechanically gifted. Let's try to take him and then tune him up to be able to just be, a mechanical god on whatever we need him to play. And it seems like that's going to be this guy. But unfortunately, even though he's nailing some very nice shots, I think the thing that's lacking the most here from the side of Newturn is synergy, which is something that they have been so well known for.
That's a really good point. And it is a bit of a different look here. Again, the first time we're seeing a Viper from Newturn on Bind and suggest is, he's again, Flipsjitter is just going to out-duel solo. I mean, he just has his number there on Hookah.
I mean, this is just
ini si Solo ini
back
beatnya.
to Newturn's last series, versus Damwon, where Solo was just effectively dead weight for this squad. Ended up having the most deaths, I do believe, across the entire team, something like 58 or something in the series.
It was a lot.
It was not a low number.
Ketahuan benar.
Eeyore, Suggest was looking at that angle and just gets bopped.
They're just looking out of sorts and unprepared. Suggest normally somebody who's so good for a quick reaction,
Ketahuan
a
sama si
headshot.
Frostman.
Just not really prepared in that moment. Gets taken down, and just like that, I mean, this has just essentially been a summary of rounds for Newturn. People die, and it all.
Oh, timing!
Gonna get caught, Hawk in hand, and with an H, and Frostmine will get that nice little kill. Allow Sheriff out for the shot. Line not gonna go off. Allow just saying, please, can I get something? He'll fall down to 1 HP after getting that nice little dink. Takes out Blaze King, but should be about all he can do. But that being said, managed to find another one, so it's decent damage inflicted, but it's still cool. 7-1. They still have rifles. They have plenty of money.
Yeah, I mean, Boom just making great plays at the right times. Blaze always seems to find, Newturn in bad spots. Always seems to be able to capitalize on it. Really, they're just across the board doing a phenomenal job. They've clearly done their homework. They understand, Newturn, when they like to fake, when they're going to rotate, how to react, how to set themselves up. The Viper stuff isn't fooling them. I mean, it's what a lot of teams do these days, so it's not like it's anything new. Newturn here. There's going to be a toxic screen coming down on 8 for Newturn, a counter one coming across here for Boom. Side as well, so both teams setting up to look for an A push. The utility from the Killjoy is also over there right now. A big push out on the A, or excuse me, B, and Flipsjitter gets Perry. Just so many opening frags here for Flips.
Yeah, and Perry normally is the guy who gets the lurker. He's the one who gets the read on the enemy teams, but that is just not happening.
Liquid yung 13
went out in a little bit of a duel battle here. Comes out on top, but falls down to 33 HP. And Hyunny's going to be
Liquid semalam 13-0.
over there.
Apa? Liquid match pertamanya 13-0
lawan OBG itu kan?
Iya, lawan OBG.
Sorry about that.
Belum belum keras lawanan orang itu. Footballis sih gue yang jago dong, footballis. Ada tim footballis namanya, DME itu.
No, ya.
Ada semalam ku teknik name Draken, tim mana itu?
Ada. Entah apa nama timnya itu, lupa lu. Footballis siapa itu yang jauh? Starburn, smoker orang nih.
Moving forward, making some noise, manages to get a nice headshot. That's the suggest that we're used to seeing. Gets that kill.
10 seconds left.
Kayaknya terakhir pengaruhnya si Frostman. It's gonna be yet another hit, but it is not Frostman. Left on his lonesome, will get picked off.
Dapatnya itu.
Dapat. Denying that last get away. Spike was playing moments before. Eeyore can get that kill onto Solo, but Cloud trades it back.
Putar-putar orangnya
Now
itu
it's just
apa ya, Bang?
Asterisk by himself. It seems like Newturn finally have got
Kena line up.
not exactly as clean as they would like. They lose out on 2 members and potentially a couple more as Asterisk makes his way forward.
Waduh.
A 1v3 scenario. 2 members taking a little bit of damage.
Oh, penuh.
The gravity
Kiri dapat.
doesn't manage.
Kanan
Find
dapat.
line shots into the box, but chances of being able to turn this
Line
around
up.
are none.
Ini pemain baru sekalian nih.
Now on the board for Newturn in a very rough
Terline
path.
up,
See if they
guys,
can try to
ya.
run this back now that they have a little bit of wind in their sails, but boom. With the way that they're playing, with the way that they're catching people off guard, it wouldn't be shocking to see them just take this right back
9-3
away
kah?
from Newturn.
I'm so impressed with Boom here. I mean, it literally took until the last second for Newturn to be able to even get the spike down. Solo had to put it right out in the open on the bottom corner of A, and it almost got him killed before he was able to get the plant. I mean, they are just doing such a good job being a nuisance. Again, all of this, you know, if they're on the attacker side, you could call it post-plant, but I think of it the same way on the defender side here for them. They could control so much space on the plant sites with this agent lineup that they brought. It is so good to counter some of the ideas that Newturn wants to do when they're
Enggak,
able
kayaknya
to get the
nanti
spike
aja
down. Frankly, they're
berset
just
mungkin.
not able to even get to that situation.
Berset sama teh botol habis LCQ ini masuk
Iya,
nanti.
iya.
Those opening picks, those opening kills, it's just crushing.
Soalnya yang
any
terdaftar
hopes
di
they
itunya
have of making
Frostman.
effective B
Si
pushes on the
apa
red.
ini
It's
dicabut
just
ini, si
wonderful stuff
Blaze.
from Boom.
Yeah, really strong start.
Iya, karena teh botol bisa sopa
I
ya
think
kan.
honestly, even if Newturn does manage to turn this around,
Blaze hero
going into
sopa-sopa
the
aja.
second half perhaps make this a lot tighter, Boom should be very happy with the way that this has played out. Right now it looks like they are poised to potentially take
Blaze
the
opa
first map
Sky,
away
dia
and
inisiator si
deny
Blaze
Newturn
ini.
their map pick.
Nanti
Be
habis LCQ.
absolutely huge for them as we go deeper into this series.
Yeah, you said that
Indonesia yang ngelek ini gue
looking to
tengok.
string some rounds together. They have the
Careful
ults available to really
Gung,
make a
kayak
good
mana kalau
go
ada,
of it.
Gung?
Frostmine
Pacaran
does
gitu,
have
Gung.
his Viper's Pit
Cantik,
as
cuman
suggests, so
tingginya
counter
190
Viper's Pit, it looks like
sentimeter, mau?
Frostmine is
Apa?
maybe angling to put
Misalnya ada
down
cewek
short
nih,
A. Viper's
entah
Pit
pacarmu
that we
gitu,
see,
apa,
so
PDKT-anmu
often
gitu
here
ya
on
kan?
this map.
Ah,
Curious to
Cuman
see what
tingginya
suggests they do
190
Rolling
sentimeter.
Thunder or Solo
nggak apa-apa.
Seekers for Hyuni, so
Ngeri-ngeri sedap, cowok.
Nggak bodoh.
get information,
Ngentot
use Rolling
titan
Thunder
aja.
to clear out the space, get the plant down.
Memang cantik, Yung.
Viper's
Cuma 190.
Nah, iya lah. Model, bos.
Again, a
Gila.
lot of that defensive sentinel utility from
Kotak model
Enggak.
temen
Udah
basket yang
hitungannya
kayak
tinggi
gitu
di
tuh.
negara ya kan? Jadi kayak Raditya Dika, Wak.
Memperbaiki
Apa ya?
keturunan.
acts almost as a sentinel there onto A. So I'm
190
really curious to see
Ya,
what
memperbaiki
Newton's
keturunan.
dial up here.
Tapi jangan salah Kona. Fisik biasanya ngikut.
Si Agung nggak tinggi,
Bapak.
Sven udah
Iya,
tinggi,
iya.
Wak.
Yeah, so hopefully we can get that taken
Si Agung
care
udah
of rather
tinggi.
quickly and then get back.
Lebih tinggi lagi cewek ya.
Iya.
Mau jadi main biar Agung.
Showing us that he's gonna have an operator in hand, so he's looking
Bikin anak 5 nih, satu tim. Isekino Sedai.
Gila. Kagami Taiga.
would be huge and might
10
force them to
tahun.
trip up a
10
little
tahun
bit.
sekali itu terjadi.
Have to try to rethink their strategy, rethink their approach. See if he's going to be able to find any value there once we do get out of this pause.
7-2.
Yeah, maybe looking.
Nothing can go wrong lah, kata caster.
So successful on, or maybe you're able to kind of get on a read onto where Frostmine wants to set
Pulsen
up.
soalnya udah masuk nih, udah masuk.
Wallbang something through a box.
Udah itu aku dengar rumor lagi si apa si main freak dari Pepper X mau cabut
nih.
nih.
Oh, si Aaron itu, si Aaron.
Si Aaron mau cabut deh dari Pepper X.
They're gonna be able to find a win on this map.
Tahu, kalau dengar-dengar ya, katanya mau join tim Indo aja dia. Kurang komunikasi orangnya itu. Tahalang apa? Tahalang bahasa.
Yeah, you can't let this get too much further out of hand. And typically,
Kaulan
at least
tak
in
kemana.
Korea, most maps have been attacker-sided.
Main freak pun mantan apanya pula, mantan Boom CSGO.
Yeah, I was actually taking a little bit of a glance over at the numbers prior to coming into this, and it's very slight. They've been, overall quite dominant on this map, but it's 61 to 59% for their attackers versus their defenders that have been carrying. Okay,
Nah, spam bah.
Only takes a little bit of damage in that trade back, so he'll be very happy with that. Operator
Elo, mati nih.
out through showers.
Aduh.
Wind away, doesn't want to get sniped there by Eeyore.
I've got your trail.
Captured the skull on one of the chests, and that would be him on the ground. Play that safe. Goes for the exit.
Masuk
Eeyore in the
nih entry.
meantime.
Apa?
Rotated back
Eeyore.
over through lamps, makes his way to short, gets caught by Solo. And it's looking like Newturn should be putting a third online
Spike
as Asterisk
planted.
is like, yeah, let's just hide out an elbow. How about that?
That'll work. Yeah, that's a safe place to hide potentially. I mean, him and Blaze. There's just no hope at this point. This site got collapsed too fast. That opening shot from Allow. And kind of interesting to see here that Frostmine didn't opt to try to use that Viper's Pit early is typically what you see on buying defensive rounds once you have it built up, but he's going to have it for the next round a lot. And then kind of on the flip side now, that also Boom is going to have a lot of ultimates used. The good news here for Newton, they're going to lose solo on this lure, is that they do have still quite a few ultimates. You still have the Viper's Pit, you still have the Rolling Thunder.
That they do, but all the same.
Yalah, next nggak ada duit orang soalnya.
Just weren't able to be used in this round. Everybody who died had their ult online. So lockdown, showstopper, and a Viper's Pit of their own, all ready to go. And maybe now that Newton's gotten 2 rounds in a row, maybe we will just see Boom say, okay, it's time to just lock down a site. Frostbite, go ahead, pop that, hold it down, and then we'll look to turn our fortunes around to get back into the driver's seat.
Yeah, I would think that maybe you could also put in showers. You'll see some teams do that to try to control that orb and then also that space. Eliminate crossfire onto A. See the Astro and the Stars going down across the board here.
Iya, tatap orang
nothing too quick. Yep.
Gonna be short.
Nindad ba?
Showers is still gonna be somewhat open as Allow starts creeping forward yet again. Trailblazer guiding him through.
Hello.
As he learned from Frostmine's previous mistake of
kena Shior nih, kena timing. Oh enggak, ada turret nih.
Well, they're definitely aware of it. They're being a lot more cautious this time around. Even committing an Astra Star there.
I mean, if they could get a grab on him, that maybe would be good. Having that offset aim where he can pull towards the center with an operator, not gonna be fun. Nor is getting flanked by his teammate. Yeah, he tries to catch somebody off guard and get a nice little pick, but doesn't manage to make that happen.
Oh,
the spray through over at short means that
kurasa main di server Taiwan orang ini, bernetra.
Buffing him up.
Mati Shior. Kan jangan di-pick tadi.
In case there's a double peek. We do not see that come through. Now it's going to be Blade Storm popped. Voids, paint shells both updrafts now.
Dipakai updraftnya dua-dua.
Have been used. Showstopper gonna fly out. Oh, it's both of them. Huge shot from the side of Flips.
Kok kena anjing?
Manages to get the 2-for-1 special with the rock. He's looking for Solo, who just can't quite steady his aim.
Nice.
Flipped in the skull. He goes down, and now it's just on Perry, who's just making his way into Shower. It's 1v3. It seems like Boom.
Siapa tadi? Si Flip Jeder kena Viper sama Jetnya. Kukira Jetnya aja tadi.
Perry would need to kill both. Can't even get the first.
Nice.
Comes up with 3 kills and Boom fighting 8 rounds and a half so far.
Round before the switch.
Yeah, this is just a little bit kind of concerning to me that Newton doesn't really have the well, a lot of bit concerning, but I mean, in that Newton doesn't really read their situation super well. They get those opening kills, that's nice, but stacking up for the Rocket, not the best. They're still sitting on both the Viper's Pit and the Rolling Thunder. So maybe there's the potential you could, if somebody pops off, you could build up a second one. Instead, you're just sitting on these ults, getting no value out of them and losing rounds.
And there's the cost of using that tailwind early. I mean, Allow just kind of doing it predictively in case there was going to be had he not done that, Nino with hindsight and with heart, kind of being able to see through everything, having a solo, that nobody was there trying to trade that back. He would have been safe. He would have been able to exit. Rolling Thunder ready, but Allow
8-4 nih.
dashes his way out on the side spots Asterisk, but he manages to trade that out first. However, comes up with 2, takes down the Astra, follows up for the raise. And now it's going to be Suggest using a Viper's Pit of his own to go ahead and lock down this site, try to make it impregnable for Boom so that Newton can get a 4th round here in the half.
Yeah, of course, last round of the half, so no reason to not go for this for Boom. This time around, yeah, Eeyore is going to come in behind Solo. Solo leaves it right as Eeyore comes through.
He's got that lockdown. We'll see what kind of position he could maybe get in. It's not going to be wall bangable. Also might make it up through elbow, manages to find Perry, spraying in behind him just in case somebody's free. Slight little bit of smoke, but here comes Eeyore. He finds just the smoke's gonna go down. Right in the center of the point. Frostbite gets young. Solo. He gets started. Push him off in time. Gets the kill. Now let's play this patiently. He knows that he didn't hit his half. He knows that this is going to explode. Solo will go ahead and get a second kill round just for good measure as he clutches it.
Switching sides.
New turn afloat.
Disimpan.
I mean, just what an incredible attempt here from Frostbite. Very nearly upending New Turn in the final round of the half. I mean, that was way wonderful. That was
way
wonderful.
Closer than you would have ever anticipated. Beautifully piloted by them.
Oh, I thought they had it there for a second. Achilles. Once that lockdown went down, I'm like, well, here we go.
Mantap retake orang tuh tadi.
And I'm like, well, then we curse Boom, so it's okay.
Ini nih kita tengok nih. Ini semua bergantung kepada duelis.
Doesn't seem to work for Korea, man. I don't think we got that magic. I think we just need to win games if that's what we're gonna happen. But I tell you what, this
we're uncursable, but we're not unbeatable. We've learned that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, dude, all around, Boom. Just a phenomenal half. Again, doing their homework on New Turn, knowing that they like to fake, knowing when they like to do it, reacting to it nicely, knowing when to save their guns, frankly, knowing when rounds are over and backing off, managing their economy so nicely that they basically had assault, rifles all through after the bonus. They won the first 3 and never were really challenged too much after that.
Sayang kali di. Untung nggak tak ada suara utility.
Forward. No, they will not. They're looking to play this out somewhat patiently. Hawk goes out, but with how many nebulas are up, there's no one to blind. But are they going to be prepared? At least forward. Somebody boosts it up on top of the box, but they actually don't turn around. But all of a sudden, 3 kills come in for New Turn. Frostbite flips. First can have Blaze go down. It's just Eeyore on his lonesome. Doesn't manage to get anything done there, and the pistol round this time will go the way of New Turn.
That's a huge pistol win for New Turn to get this defender's side going. Let's see if they can maybe, right the ship, get kind of in the hands of their own players, the confidence, the momentum, the things that they were lacking until probably about the second half of that first half. So it's going to be a couple Spectres. You'll see this with New Turn where it's kind of like 2 Spectres. And if players are able to keep their ghosts, they'll just hang on to them. Try to, bank a little bit extra. Try to kind of
jetnya mau OP dia bang.
If they can. Now, Boom, going to be on the Eco. Feels like for the first time.
Yeah, pretty much. Gonna be the only time that they've really been on the back foot. I mean, a little bit of awkwardness at the very beginning of the map with the economies on both sides, where we weren't seeing, full buys coming out, but
udah lah. Ronti.
Allow. I mean, what are you gonna do when he's nailing shots like that? It says, I'm just gonna hold on to the ghost, have my armor. Parry as well with the Spectre. It's gonna be outgunning. Finds Eeyore.
You can see Blitzjitter trying to push through onto Hyunny. Gets enough space, but Hyunny's able to get out, avoids any damage himself. Parry gonna get healed up a bit. That fault line hits Parry. He has to wait. Dog's gonna buy him some time though.
Blitzjitter falling. Pitch now coming in. Nice dink there from Solo. We'll find fall.
OP kawan nih.
But allow. Will go ahead. Starts the round off with the first blood. Gets the finishing kill as well.
OP dia.
Asterisk. That is New Turn. Now 6 to 8.
Apalang mengentot.
But I'm wondering if I want to speak it into existence.
Oh boy.
Might have Korean fans coming for me if I do.
I'm just gonna let you
win or lose until after. Win or lose, I'll talk about it after this round.
Okay, that's fine. I don't want you.
Round 3. Oh,
dia healthy. We got a lot more Valorant to play in this tournament. You need to be alive.
I mean, this is only day 2 of an entire week of this tournament, so absolutely need to stay healthy, need to stay nicely rested.
If we could just put you in that cryogenic chamber that they have on Icebox for for a while, so you're ready, I'd be okay with that.
It might take a little bit too long to thaw me out.
It is getting a little chilly in Korea.
Yeah, we're getting there. I got the window cracked open. Nice little,
a
little breeze coming through.
It's fall. I love that we get all 4 seasons here, but all right, Boom. They do take control of Hookah. It's still Hyunny gonna send the Trailblazer out. Gonna see Blaze Kings over there as well. Spike making its way towards Hookah, so setting up for a B hit, and nobody's really in position to do much about this on Newturn right now.
Kind of creeping forward, they'll make their presence known. Solo just barely survives. 8 HP, spray from Flips. And I mean, we do have this guy nearby.
30 seconds left.
We'll be able to top up Solo. So rotate back now towards the A site. Suggest lurking inside the poison orb. Clock goes out. Suggest sprays down 2. Both hitting the floor. He's looking for a little more. And he's gonna find it. Gets a third, but Eeyore trades it
10
back.
seconds left.
Suggest in the head. That's 1, but now on a 2v4 up against a rifle, 2 Spectres, and an op. And with no time left, it's just gonna have to be the weapons held in hand here for the side of Boom as they look to survive.
Yeah, I think Boom kind of overthinking themselves a little bit on this round. They see that there's not much going on the B site, and that I think maybe made them think that there was a lot of members of Newturn waiting in the wings. You saw that spray from Flips into Elbow. He didn't get the kill. He darn near, had he got that kill on his Solo, that would have been a completely different round. They probably would have pushed into B, taken control of it, got the spike down, and then would have made, Newturn try to do a 4v5 retake, but instead, no kills, no information garnered on where anybody on Newturn was, so they have to rotate with not much time left back over to A. That one-way smoke used so effectively by Suggest there.
All right, well, people can breathe easy now. They played versus Hyunny. As Perry pushes in the showers, finds a nice headshot. 6 rounds was all that Newturn was able to get. I was wondering if it was a Newturn curse, where as long as Hyunny is in the lobby when they're on bind, 6 rounds is as many as they're going to be able to win. But it seems like that curse was broken very quickly. Like I said, uncursable, but not unbeatable. Newturn way back, pulling over here into Elbow. Is Hyunny just playing safe? As Allow will go down, but managed to find a kill first.
Man, Flips is just nuts today here on bind, and he's gonna get taken down by Solo. Good crossfire set up between Elbow and the cubby there. Not gonna be able to do much after getting stuck a bit. And that is gonna be another round here for Newturn. An eco though for Boom, so it is what it is. Try to do as much damage as you can. You do find the operator again. And back over to Allow. 8-8, we're all tied up.
Yeah, it's been a decent run back here from the side of Newturn, but they're not out of the woods yet. Far from it. Still are going to need 5 more to try to make it happen. Sports, now that they've been tied up, say, okay, it's a good time to go ahead, call timeout. Let's talk about what's going wrong, what we need to focus on, where we're getting hit the hardest from, and look to correct the ship.
Yeah, I wouldn't honestly mind seeing maybe a fast hit on either way. I would love to see maybe a fast hit here from Boom. Maybe try to hit Hookah. They've been getting it kind of for free. We haven't really seen Solo try to play out of it too much. A lot of times he's kind of the one, if they don't play a Raze, like sometimes they'll play Suggest on Raze, but of course him switching over to the Viper, leaves that territory open. And look at the pigs right there. I think they are going to make a fast hit attempt to get through Hookah. There's been a lot of space given by Newturn, and it hasn't been punished by Newturn yet, so maybe Boom is going to see if they can get away with one.
We'll see. They had the slow creep in, obviously didn't work out for them, so maybe just upping the pace a little bit. They'll change their fortunes. As we go ahead to run down that clock. Timer started up again as we get back into the action. Hopefully for the sake of Boom, the coach's words will be enough to reinvigorate them and instill some confidence back into the squad. Suggest just going to be looking to hold it down short. Jitter spotting one, to let the paint shells fly out. So, as they spot one over on the side, but Hyunny is there to try to support. Manages to make it a 1-for-1. He goes down. Another flash out. Pushing up. The teleporter was used by Allow to get himself out the safety. The B site now going to be unoccupied. Looking here, has to shoot the Seeker. TP in, Suggest manages to find Eeyore. Comes in to try to help back up. Uh-oh! A little bit awkward as that is just Solo getting caught after shock in hand. Goes down, now a 3v3.
Now, this is both teams doing good things at the beginning of this round, and just barely Boom's able to get a further advantage. Allow's going to get slowed up. Bladestorm has come out, so the op in the back pack for him for now.
Pushing around, needs to clear the right left side. Manages to spot one, but flips, just instantly strikes. Gets him in the head with that Phantom. Just going to be recovering from the decay, and with 2 members left, they say, yeah, no, we cannot win this. Let's pull back, hold on to these weapons. Maybe try to catch somebody on the exit as Perry lurks just on the outside of Long. Goes for the pink, manages to find Frostmind, manages to get Flip Jitter, so makes it a painful victory for the side of Boom. They only managed to hold on to 1 rifle.
Yeah, I think that Allow may have dropped that operator a long time ago and grabbed a gun instead, and it didn't. I don't believe it fell into the hands of Boom there. Not that it would have. I don't know how much it would have mattered either way, but this is just great stuff from Boom, dialing up a good B hit at the right time. Even though it gets slowed up in his red decently well by Newturn, they're able to take control of Long B, displacing Allow with that operator, sending him through the teleporter, opens up the space they need to get the spike down. Yeah, they take a lot of damage in the process, but they're at least able to get the round win.
Blocking vision.
Even if they're all scrappy, it doesn't matter as long as you're the first one to hit 13. Unless it's in overtime, in which case you gotta go to 14. But operator boosted here on top of truck for Allow. Jump forward, Flip Jitter. There's Bunny coming out as he double blast packs forward. Showstopper going to be used. Allow gets a nice shot in onto Frostmind. Flip Jitter tagged down, doesn't manage to find anything with the rocket. Now just has 30 HP remaining. Push forward, and Suggest wins that. Are you joking? He was watching, but he just doesn't manage to get the damage through. Takes him down to 13, so it's still significant, but not exactly what he was going to be looking for. With him falling down, this is now a 4v3. 2 of these players effectively could be out of the fight at a given moment. Any stray bullet going their way will take him out.
Yeah, Solo looking to pick up this operator. Allow kind of, I don't know, caught sleeping a bit here in this corner. He is going to find it. And continues to watch down this short A direction. There's the turret that looked to be into lamps pretty effectively. They have enough space to get the plant down. You do have Hyunny waiting over on the elbow just in case somebody tries to come through there, but now they're going to know.
Yep. This is going to be the fault line coming out. And we'll go ahead and hold on to the plant. Shot's not going to find any kind of connection. 1 member strong, Newturn. Need to get this retake. So just goes down. HP on him. Not too surprising to see him fall. They no longer can afford to lose out on members. Perry gonna make a kill there onto Flip Jitter, but then falls to Blaze King. Gets taken down by Hyunny. Now on a 1v2, Eeyore trying to get these headshots in, but Hyunny gets there first. Newturn will have the defuse, and they will have another tie, 9-9. They'll hold off on the defuse as Hyunny wraps around to go ahead and retrieve the operator, but otherwise Newturn are keeping it close.
Yeah, a lot of this is straight up because Suggest just the flick of his life onto Asterisk. Asterisk should have had him dead to rights, but I don't know. He ate his Wheaties this morning because he just turns and pops him with the Vandal. That's very nicely done by him, and that gives them control of showers, gives them a lot of ability to control that, a little bit of the tempo, a little bit of space. Allow, again, caught sleeping a little bit up in heaven on A, but at the end of the day, they're able to maintain and get through there. Whew, that was a really good round, a really good attempt from Boom. Just not quite enough to throw off Newturn. The quick reactions from Huddy to get over. Hits a couple nice flashes to keep him stuck in lamps. Well done there by Newturn. Let's see what Boom's got dialed up here. 9-9.
I mean, they've got 3 stars right now. If they can get an ult orb for Eeyore, first fire lockdown available, but yeah, they're not even going to rotate that side. Shots coming out, they look for a target. Stinger's going to be used, but Allow, he goes to the repeat back over from elbow, manages to find Flip Jitter, so one of the Stingers is now going to be laying on the floor unused. And he creeping out through the nebula.
Spike planted.
Back in, will have Blaze right there on that left side flank on the other side of Arch. Line of sight and doesn't manage to make it happen, and he snaps right in onto Blaze King's head. Screen as well, as Allow finds yet another op shot. Newturn hungry to take the lead for the very first time here on Bind. Solo cleans up 2. The Fuse will come in. Newturn now have full momentum behind them. Boom need to stop this if they want to take this first map.
Well, this is kind of that round that Boom was worried about earlier when they noticed that B site was rather open. They adjusted to it nicely, you know, had a good timeout to come back, find that open space, get around in their bags, but then Newturn on the fly is able to recognize that that hit could be coming after kind of pressuring Boom into a bad economic situation, and just surrounds the B site coming from all the different angles. Hyunny's able to stay there in long B, control that space. Elbow, they've got alley, they've got it all, man, and it's just a crossfire across the board for them to wipe Boom out. But again, you know, economically lacking for Boom on that one, so you don't want to, you know, take too much out of it.
Kena nih.
Still do manage to get the full rifles out. Asterisk just going to be the only one on the side of Boom that has that half armor.
I've got your trail.
Star pop coming through. Flips saying, I think he's going to be over on the left side. Throws out the paint shells. Seeker now going to be coming through yet again. It's going for the chase onto Perry.
Leave that back.
I think it actually managed to connect him. I think it destroyed it first. Flip's going to go down as loud. Kill. Now has the operator. Gets rid of Asterisk. All of a sudden, just explosion coming through as kill after kill comes out. New Turn win the round. 11-9, 2 more to go for New Turn to take their back pick of blind.
That one felt a bit forced, and you know, what an escape there from Perry with a little help from some of his friends. Right at the last moment there, Suggest pops the toxic screen to cover his escape with the Seekers trailing him. So that's a good start to that round, and then Boom, the call is to just be aggressive off of it, and New Turn's right there, ready and waiting with open arms. Yeah, Hyunny, we know he's really good with those snipers. We've seen it when he's played Jet before, and this time they're giving him a little opportunity to do something this one time, but it is going to be the operator back over to allow for this, pushing aggressively through Shower, seeing if again, you know, New Turn can kind of see if they could catch the adjustments that Boom is trying to make, but this time nobody from Boom is really pressuring into Shower, so far Allow hasn't found anything.
Yeah, it's just staring out over towards Asterisk, but hasn't managed to spot.
12-9.
Come up with a kill. Push out there from Lamps into short. Gets the flip jitter.
Nanti.
Got able to confirm presence. The Trailblazer spot. The days hard to tell either way. Perry manages to line up Eeyore, then gets straight back. Wasting with that Sheriff. It's a nice headshot through, but unfortunately, it seems like that's going to be the only kill that they managed to find. Spike's now being rotated over towards a site. Suggests still hovering over at Heaven. Will drop down. Maybe get tucked in behind the box. They're
Bab 2 Heaven pula dipilih Bumis.
A little one-way smoke setup.
Dia jadi depending lagi Heaven.
Dips into the poison cloud. It will collapse. His health will go back up.
30 seconds
Tries
left.
to see if the coast is clear.
Well, this is going to be rather difficult, of course. He's going to throw down a few stars here, but Suggest is right there. He's just going to push through gun in hand. Oh my god!
Oh my god! The swap over to the Sheriff gets a headshot. That is beautiful from Asterisk. Now he can recover the rifle. Has it in hand, but is he going to be good for kills? 1-3. The odds absolutely stacked against him, but my god, what a miracle. If he could pull this off, bring them within touching distance of New Turn yet again. Operator on one side, Hawk goes out.
Jangan sampai kedetek, sumpah. Ini kok kedetek selesai.
Pick his angles, figure out where to watch. The fault line goes over to the Shower. He tries to push it back. Oh wow, great Sheriff shot. He's just a little bit faster on the draw when it comes down to the rifles. Gets the kill, and New Turn are now at match point. 12-9. Boom. Need to run it back 3 in a row if they want to take us into overtime.
What a reaction there from Asterisk.
I would love to see that again.
I thought, yeah, I would love to see that again if we could get that replay. But man, oh man, I thought Suggest had him dead to rights, and he just pops up the gun. The crosshair placement is perfect to get that kill, just not able to recover enough. I mean, a tall order, of course, with 3 members of New Turn left. They come at different angles to him. He's stuck behind the boxes. You know, a monumental task for any player to try to overcome that. Here they go. They're going to get a little bit aggressive on this one, and the long B.
Blaze King gonna still take a chunk of damage from the aftershock. Obviously,
Gak
getting
ada
himself back up. Gets quite a bit of damage there on the down 15. Destroyed. Flashes come out. Well timed. Very blinded. This is gonna be good for the headshot.
That was a really good flash to set Flips up. They wait out the utility just long enough. There's the rolling thunder coming through, but Flips is not on the bad side of it. Suggest gonna find Frost. Yep, on the site. So now things even up here. New Turn ahead by 1. Let's see what Flips Jitter can do.
I mean, they lose out on that Viper's Pit. The spike never got planted. Good rolling thunder from Solo to interrupt it. And things just started to spiral out of control from there. Trying to creep around, take the spike through defender spawn. Get it over towards A. Blaze King can hang back, play around elbow, and try to pick them off one after the other. He manages to find Hyunny. Their presence known as the blind comes out. Everybody else, but Solo has made his way over to the A site. He says, this is reminding me of a play that I would do, a play that I in fact did do earlier in this map. I'm gonna go investigate. Now he'll hear the plant. Can he interrupt it again? The answer is gonna be no, but as he goes out for the peek, he finds Clips. Blaze King still creeping through. We need to be watching. Solo back over on that A site to see what he can get done. Blaze King just gonna creep back over now through the defender spawn, but the teleporter has been taken by everybody else. See, he's going to be able to defend this, but he's so wary. He doesn't know. He doesn't know that they took the teleporter.
Oh, he never heard it. He never heard it, Achilleos. Solo's coming through. Suggest is going to get one. Asrock trades out. But now the time is ticking down. Solo from behind. Never saw Blaze.
Tap on the spike. Blind connects. Running out of time. Goes for the push, but Blaze down. The long lurk through defenders. It does manage to pay off. For all of his time, for all of his creeping along, he manages to keep his position completely ambiguous and unknown to the side of Newturn. Gets the jump on Solo, gets the out trade there onto Suggest, and keeps Boom alive. 2 more in a row, and we've got an overtime.
I mean, just galaxy brain stuff from both teams there. You know, even though Blaze is kind of not aware of the teleports or those other things, he ends up catching Solo off guard. Solo read that like a book, but you know, it was just kind of an unconventional positioning here from Blaze, who's getting aggressive, trying to push forward. I think he's just creating space, just trying to make sure that that orb doesn't get taken by a Lao.
Blaze can go ahead and snatch this up. That's the Seekers online. He's thinking about using it immediately, but seems like he's just going to go ahead and hold it. But 3 ultimates to utilize. Boom, in a pretty decent spot. Short A, however, fairly unassailable unless they can somehow get a lucky pick in onto Suggest.
Forward is Perry again into Hookah. We've seen him been okay getting out of it. Can use that toxic screen as kind of cover.
Jangan mati. Oke, Ior nice sekali.
Oh, nice. Solid start here. Man advantage now over for the side of Boom. Johnny just pulling back again over into elbow, waiting for reinforcements to arrive. Gonna be the lockdown. Placed by Ior.
Oh, tele.
It's off the majority of the sites. Solo. See that get destroyed. Solo now just gets crept up.
Oh wait, she's so guess.
Way at Garden, but the full rotation has come through. Boom. Making their way out onto the A site. Seekers.
Ior nih. Kena timing nih. Tipis anjing. Dapat nih 11 nih.
Looking to make sure that the rotation can't come through.
Aduh, itu opennya belum mati.
Gonna start making his way back over to A to try to defend this spike. Newturn still gonna be in Amanda's advantage, looking to try to finish off this map.
Well, this is going to be tough for Newturn. Allow giving any space. Suggest going to get a kill there on a Frostmine on the side. Okay, 3v3. Allow with the Frenzy. He has to push in.
Their way forward. Nanoswarm comes out. They don't manage to kill it off for the activation. Spot 1. Allow manages to get 1. Absolutely get 4 on the round. The defuse is going to be there. And Newturn. Oh wow, it was so close.
3 menit lagi. 3 menit 30.
They barely managed to scrape by with a victory. So well fought.
Dia gak masuk tele soalnya.
I said it earlier. Now, I think they absolutely hold their heads high because they pushed Newturn to the limits here on this map.
Oh iya.
Now they have very well an opportunity for them to take this
dia majunya dari apa itu dekat base kan ada yang di tengah itu
was phenomenal from them. They their homework again, understanding that Solo loves fakes, love to do these other things. They handled themselves so very nicely throughout that half. The second half a little bit more challenging. The defender side on Vine clearly showing its strength once again. You know, Newturn, I love what I'm seeing there with the Viper finally coming in. You know, you and I have been very critical of this in the past, Achilleos, and it's good to see it coming through.
Yeah, well, we'll see if this is just a little bit of a warm-up for Newturn or for Boom. Either way, it's looking like we have one hell of a series on our hands. We'll see what happens in the next map when we come back after the break.
Mantap. Iya. GG lah. GG.
Dua-duanya
GG
happen.
adik-adik. Mending warnet.
Ada apa sih di sini? Aduh. Bubuk bah. Jerai. Karya anjay. Gerinda sih itu belum di setting. Cuma anak pula lagi. Anjir gak di setting ya. Nah, gak di ada. Emang si tolol. Tuh. Gak di set. Lagi lama dah. Dah, mending gini aja lah. Gak di set. Kali ada webcamnya. Burik kan kalau lihat muka itu burik. Kintil minjet main palo daripada nobar gak jelas ya kan. Nobar gak jelas emang si paling bagus lah dia lah. Barau anjir. Ini kalau emang dia kalah lagi nih ya. Mana gue? Coba kita buka dulu lah ya. Buka Valorant lah. Bisa nggak ya? Nge-lag ya gitu aja intinya. Kalau pas streaming tiba-tiba nge-lag, kan nge-download. Apa sih ini tuh download apa lagi? Mak, cuma anak kali bapak dia lah. Tapi anehnya lagi download sinyalnya suka bagus ya. Biasanya jelek. Gak tahu nih update apa nih Valorant ini ya. Itu ada updatean ini. Bundle baru nggak mungkin. Habiskah? Naik market mungkin ya. Naik market itu kayaknya habis ya. Gue mau lihat itu dulu nih.
Welcome back to the Valorant 8-pack last chance qualifier. We're halfway there.
Udah
It's
mandi
a
ya,
long day,
Cherry.
no doubt.
Udah mandi
Living on a
kayaknya.
prayer. And you know what? After that first map, new turn, they don't have to pray anymore. Korea came out of the gate strong in that. Well, I say they came out of the gate strong. The first half was a little bit dodgy, but Black and Blue, they were able to turn things around and come away with the map.
Oh my god,
No,
cabe.
totally. For the
Ngedownload
win there at
cabe.
the end, and
Tidak.
I talked about, earlier on, we all kind of agreed that Boom, they're going to get ahead of this, at least map number 1, with a very big lead to start things off. I wasn't expecting that big of a lead, to get the game going with them winning
Udah bagus
the
loh
first
itu
opening
tadi
8 rounds, at
sebenarnya.
least went 7-1 before New Turn actually were able to string 2 rounds in a row. So yeah, a 7-1 lead to start the game on off.
Gue
And
tahu apa
that's
yang
kind of what
salah
we were
dari
expecting from
Boom
them, to be able to
ini.
surmount that early on, but we were also kind of expecting and anticipating that
Karena
New Turn at some point will turn up the heat, will be able to adjust into it because of how we know these guys are very, very well capable of playing. And in that case, that's exactly what happened.
Lebih
Boom
bagus
start
lah
off
ya.
early, they start off
Lebih
good and strong,
bagus
which is
ya.
quite uncharacteristic because they normally start off a bit slower, then heat up
Lebih
as the game
bagus itu
progresses. But
menurut gue
as we talked
dalam
about,
hal
their aggression, even though
skor
they're on the
ya,
defensive
skor
side, is
per
something that
poin
will
ya.
pay dividends for them to start this game off. And it
12,
will
13,
throw off a team like
10
New
ya.
Turn, who are more, I guess, used to
Dibanding
playing
dengan
strategically, or kind of more, I guess, structured teams, if anything. And in that case, here comes in Boom. They open up the party, but it's New Turn in full.
13, 10 itu lumayan.
Gotta say though,
Tadi gue lihat
Boom, again, it's always been the Flipsitter struggle for the past couple of months now, but way back when Boom was still fresh and new, just a couple of strapping young lads, they had, I think, what I dubbed them as the Tale of Two Kings, when the Dern King and Blaze King was still in that particular roster, and Blaze King showed up for this game, 22 kills overall. That man just really set the pace for the first half, and I think I have to retract what I said, before we got into the first game, where I said that Boom might have a good defending side. That was actually the opposite. They had a fantastic start to that. I think it ended like 9-3, 8-4, and when they got on the attacking side, the things that I did say a while ago where Flipsitter would be, kind of controlled by the Astra, now added by the shenanigans that the Viper Wall gives, really hampered a lot of the things for Boom, and they didn't really take as many rounds as I think they would have wanted, especially on the attacking, because everything that they would try to go through always get countered. And then, of course, specifically looking at it from New Turn, Allow is, I have no words, he was just incredible. There you go,
Yeah, no, Allow looked absolutely fantastic, and I think on top of that too, it was really interesting to see some of the setups coming through from New Turn. They were rocking the Breach and the Sky, which is a very new look for this team, and they just had both of them going down B long, like 18 flashes amongst the two of them, concusses, whatever you need, even sometimes they're rocking the operator on the Sky, and Bleach would put down his flashes, TP out back over long control, mixing things up, and Boom just didn't really seem like they had a great answer, and someone they didn't have an answer to at all was Allow. His absolutely on point, Black and Blue.
Yeah, totally. I mean, this guy +9, plus minus at the end of it, so he's been completely finding value with almost every single life he's given and taken here in the entire series, at least here at map #1. And this is what we were maybe not necessarily expecting to come from him specifically, to pull out this jet and just completely go ham, but we were expecting some funny business here, at least some, big shows, big players to show up, and that's exactly what they needed here, New Turn, when, to be quite honest with you, we did say, and I did mention that New Turn are the favorites in this, but that gap isn't as big as anybody's gonna, actually, as most people might think, from New Turn and Boom. And to be quite honest with you, it wasn't as small as gonna think either. This really came down to the wire. We went, to the almost final round of regulation. We almost even went into overtime in it, and speaking of those big players, we're just gonna need to see a bit more of that
Tahu,
from
semua
Boom.
bisa
He had a
terjadi.
bit more of a quieter game here today. Now Blaze, he's been one of the stalwarts here, one of the hallmarks of that Boom, kind of brand of Valorant that we've seen from the very start, and he's the only player with a positive plus-minus on the side of Boom. We're gonna need a bit more of those, players stepping up from the side of Boom as we move into map number 2.
Absolutely. And the funny thing is, we were coming in before game 1, it's like, oh man, it's New Turn's bind. Boom, probably not going to stack up that well against them, and they came here to play. Now we're going to be moving on to their selection in Haven. I heard Agent Select is not too far away from us getting into that, so exciting stuff to be sure. And I think that Boom have so many things that worked for them in this first map that they can really draw from moving into this second one, Asrock.
I think one of the things that works so well is how quick they are to kind of just answer to the aggression that New Turn gives when they were on that defending side. But come the second half, the thing that really scares me now for Boom is that I feel like a well-placed Viper util, at least on Bind, was such a big threat already to how Boom was approaching. Just something that disrupts the push of the 5-man for Boom kind of just makes it so that they can't really follow up, and that's not something that New Turn, shy away from. They keep punishing for it, and I think if it's not going to be the Viper that they utilize with the wall, they're going to utilize the Breach with his fault line, and it's going to be that, moving forward into Haven.
And we are going to be in Agent Select here. There's some interesting stuff already. Once again, New Turn are going to be rocking those double initiators, the Sky and the Breach. So a whole lot to play with there to set up Allow to take space on, either offense or defense. Haven often comes down as a map to teams taking A lobby control on defense to play for fast flanks to get forward positions so you can't rotate there later on in the round. And Boom, they're going to be rocking a double duelist setup here. Black and Blue, how do you feel about this coming in for Flipshooter and Blaze?
I actually quite like it because we haven't seen them pick out Reyna on Haven in quite a while, to be quite honest with you. Like, the last time they did actually pick Reyna was almost at the start of the year, right? And the same is true, honestly, for New Turn, for them, to be shaking things up, for them to be picking Breach. The last time we actually saw a Breach on a Haven for New Turn, it was last year, dude. It was 2020, and that just goes to tell you that these guys, they have something, in their history, some cards that they maybe haven't been using as of recent, but now's the time to use it in the LCQ. It's a final shot for these guys, and they know that they have to pull out all the stops, and that's exactly why you're seeing the Reyna now finally, once again, after such a long time here, coming on the side of Boom, and same thing for New Turn on that Breach.
Oh man, I love it for Blaze, because I swear when I was watching VODs prepping for this week, I was watching Blaze's Silva, and I'm like, man, sometimes he's just playing this like a duelist. Like, he's out on his own, not worrying about if he has utility up. He's just taking angles, he's taking fights, getting 2-3 kills, absolutely looking insane on it. So on Haven, to lock in that Reyna and have a shot here to bounce back and knock out New Turn, or knock New Turn down to the lower bracket, rather. Reminder, this is a double elimination bracket. Is going to be so fun to see. We are just moments away from getting on to this second map here. I think both teams have a lot of cool tools to work within their arsenal for this matchup on Haven. We got 1.5 million flashes for New Turn, like we saw from them on Bind, which worked wonders, especially on that defensive half. They've got options. Allow's been looking insane all day long. Asrock, I gotta come to you here. Are we going to a map 3? Do you believe, is it going to happen?
I always believe on it, but I feel like the game is about to start, so I'll just believe quietly on the backside.
Believe.
Just
the copium is running strong.
Copium.
Let's send it over to our casters. Korean casters. So maybe they're not going to love it quite as much, but take it away, gentlemen.
I love it. I'm just happy to always see the best team win, Ender. So as long as we get good gameplay out of it, that's really all I care about. And I'm sure Paper Thin's right there with me. But man, a really crazy way to start off the series. Pushed to the very limits. We're a New Turn there on Bind. They managed to get their win, but hey, look at that. We are, in fact, already into the game. Nobody...
udah mulai ke game. Jangan lupa pindahkan dulu. So sorry.
Will get taken down as Perry comes in cross angle. It's that headshot. Frostbind over on the
Frostbind sekarang bermain Sky.
38 HP remaining on him. Can he do anything? No. So Jess is actually going to find him. Finds Eeyore as well. Back-to-back headshots. Now we have a 2v2.
Well, let's see what they can do. Perry's gonna get one. Suggest gets a third on the round, and that didn't take long. Achilleos at pistol came at us and left us very quickly.
Careful.
That it did. Apologies for jumping in a little bit late there, guys, but we got to see the meat of the action. So it seems like the early pick on the Hyuni, wherever it may have happened, not going to be too, it's going to be fairly negligible, rather, for the side of Newton here at the start. So them winning a pistol round is a little bit of a scary prospect, because I know you and I, you know, when we're being maybe slightly biased casters, certainly not in this moment, but when we were watching certain moments in Iceland when we weren't on the analyst desk, or maybe even when we were, this was not the map that we liked to see Newton play.
Oh, you and I were malding. Oh, flips jitter. Hits
Nice shot.
Banger. Woo. But yeah, you and I did a lot of malding. Let's just put it that way. We've seen Newton on Haven recently.
Oh, so far it's a little bit of a better start, but considers looking to turn that around. That being said, gets a little shot out onto Solo, taking him down, but as fast as implied.
Kesempatan di lower
On the
break.
ground, now it's Asterisk and Eeyore. Is there any guns on the other side of this nebula? No, there's not, so won't be able to find anything. It's just going to be classics to try. Keep pushing forward. Eeyore, however, will get struck down as Hyuni seemingly a bit angry after he got taken down first and foremost in the first round. Comes up with 4 kills. That was just one little pizza slice of having the Seekers online.
Yeah, I mean, I think we were all kind of a bit curious about Hyuni coming into this. You know, again, known to be a superstar jet, slotting into the sky very nicely. It felt like it took him a little while to get going on Bareng, but now seems to be finding his footing. We know he's cracked with whatever gun he's got in his hands. Even they threw him the op one time, just kind of, you know, give him a little bit of a nod with that as well. But it's rather surprising in another sense that Hyuni came out in some interviews publicly before this event and said he'd be playing Jet, so I think it is kind of some mind games that Newturn is playing publicly to keep Allow there, and you know, Hyuni kind of hidden in this sky role.
We have to control the press.
Karena emang Newton ini bagus juga kemarin di
Some sophisticated stuff
Happen
there,
Yeah,
itu pas
exactly.
lawan
That's exactly what I was
Argentina.
thinking.
I know your mind, Achilles.
Solo is Charles Foster Kane. He's got to
Okay.
keep everything protected. Big kills coming out.
Oke, apakah bisa? Oke, tidak dilihat kanannya. Kebanyakan di kiri itu terus.
He's got a minute to play with, so let's see where he wants to try to take this.
Yeah, I
Kebanyakan lihat
love
ke
what Bareng is
kiri.
doing here. There's no reason to try to plant on C. You gotta feel the rotations coming, and he definitely does. Now B,
Bisa aja ini
you know,
si
since the killjoy is
Perry
gone,
ini
the
menang ya
utility there
lawan
is not going to be activatable,
dua
but
orang
it
ini.
looks like
Dia
he's going to
ke
go
A
through
nih.
window
Gua
and go
yakin
all
ya.
the way to A, try to give himself, you know, the most time, the most opportunity to get this spike down. I think the danger senses should be ticking for Boom here pretty soon, and they should be wrapping through their spawn potentially, but they're just holding that angle, expecting
30
something
seconds left.
out of Garage.
Tak terharap.
They might even be thinking that this is, you know, a bait delay. They might be thinking like, oh no, there's no way he's rotating all the way to the A site. He's just trying to draw as much time away from the clock as he possibly can. You know, keep us locked here, try to, you know, get that double bluff going off. But it would have been the correct play. 13 seconds remaining as the spike gets planted. Shots flying out from Flips. Doesn't manage to connect with Perry as he's just going to sit right here into the nebula. Now pulls away, is wary about somebody potentially coming in from behind.
Wah, nggak mau.
We'll see that dissipate. Dips back in behind default box. Both members approaching the link. Tap on the spike, and Perry whiffs the shot. Frostbind gets the headshot with a Vandal. Defuse will come in, and Boom, get themselves on the board.
Yeah, good round here. The early defense onto C really kind of tears things apart, even though Perry's able to get over to the side of Platt there and get a few kills, grab the spike, get over there, get it planted, get a little extra cash for Newturn, but that's a solid rifle round there, and you know, Newturn not able to find the bonus, but hey, you know, it wasn't too bad at all for a Newturn in terms of, you know, how you expect that round to go economically. For Boom, a solid hold, so I would say that one kind of is a wash in a lot of ways for that round 3 situation.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right.
Blaze can't afford armor.
Oh, no, he cannot. It's very glass cannon. He's going to be hoping that he can get an assist to get that overheal coming through, so he effectively has armor. Man stack. Looking out, looking for the shot, but oh man, Flips is going to be good for it. Even puts quite a bit of damage in onto Allow. We'll need to get some heals here from Gunny, which will now arrive, but already going to be down down Suggest rather, so he's saying solo when I take a look over and see the breach.
I like to see. We haven't seen Suggest on the breach in some time. It's been a hot minute, huh?
It's been a considerable amount of time, yeah. But we get it
he
yet
has,
again.
Yeah, he has pulled it out from time to time. If people aren't familiar with Suggest in the Korean region, it is something he will slot into here and there. So it looks like now that's going to be his role, and he's maybe not quite as good as Solo on it, I'd say, but he's still rather strong.
Mainly when we were, heading over to maps like Split, where we see the Killjoy coming out from Solo. Perry managing to find Flips
30 seconds
before
left.
he loses out on his teammate. So another one on the floor. Hyunny gone. No Seekers to be used here in this round. 20 seconds remaining. Spike getting inched forward into A. Pull out from the site there. Solo trying to creep his way into that A link. Gets struck down. Now 2 members immediately hearing the Spike plant. They call for reinforcements. It's 2v4 and stave off Boom. Boom right now looking hungry, looking like they might just be able to make this 2-2. See if they can get past this wall right now. Already one up in heaven.
One enemy remaining.
Push coming out. Perry managing to find 2. Can he get 2 more? Closes out, goes for the push. The crossfires there. Blaze King will get that headshot. No armor, no problem. Defuse will come in. Boom Esports tie us up.
That really nice bait there by Frost. That's just expertly done here by Boom. In general, this round is very well handled by Boom, and it all starts with Flips getting that opening pick. Not only does he get that pick, he gets a bunch of damage onto Allow. That forces out some utility from Hyunny to come. He has to use the heal. He has to use a guiding light to make sure that short A is clear. So that's a huge advantage for Boom and for Flips in so many different ways there with that pick. Just a great round for Boom. Even though the Spike again does get planted, Perry picks up quite a few kills. He's having one heck of a map. I tell you what, Perry seems to really show up on Haven for Newturn.
There.
Yeah, it's looking a lot better compared to what we were seeing at least at the beginning. Bind instantly tailwind away there from Allow. Gonna just play that very cautiously as Solo tries to creep up through the garage pistol and handed it. You will absolutely dome Blaze King. That's a massive pick. Wow. I mean, just wow. Ooh. I think 1 knife hit there on a Perry. Yeah. Back a little bit of damage, but that's going to be Perry knocked down to 65. Solo comes up with yet another headshot. This time, the Sheriff save round looking pretty darn good. That will be the stun coming out onto Asterisk as well. Lockdown going to be used here on the C site. Well, moving up and Allow instantly domes him with the Blade Storm. Suggest he's going to deny that away. Not going to let Allow get that second kill. Just like that, this is looking like a wonderful thrifty from Newturn.
Well, there's so much that goes right for Newturn in this round, and obviously the Solo shot Suggest there going to finish the job in a Frostbite, but Solo gets the shot, backs off, doesn't over-aggress, doesn't over-peek, and knows that there's probably a follow-up coming. They find another one, even though the Blade Storm comes out there from Flips, they're able to avoid any of those headshots from the Blades, and they survive. And then they start throwing utility into the backside. Asterisk just gets completely pinned. He gets fault lined, he gets flash, everything to keep him in place for that push, to not give the opportunity there for Boom to counter the C push. It's just so well executed here by New. Of course, just hitting great shots is where it all starts.
Really solid looking here. Instead of Newturn as Allow tries to get that kill in, but they might not be aware of Flips' position. Just hiding out behind the stack. So just taking quite a bit of damage, just gonna eat that. Allow pushes out, manages to find a second kill as Blaze King and Frostbite both go down. And he, as he pushes, Flips just over the top of the smoke. He was trying to get that peek off. He will get punished for it. 3 kills here for Allow, just trying to speed run his way back into another Blade Storm.
Yeah, and it's the full rotate over to C, and it is what it is. I mean, again, it's an eco round here, and not even able to go into the Sheriff eco for them. Perry finds Eeyore, 1 left for Boom. And going back to the previous round before this one, another thing you have to be really cautious of with Newturn is their Sheriffs. I mean, they have some of the best Sheriffs in Korea. They're absolutely devastating with that Gridden. they've said it in some of their videos that they warm up with the sheriffs in the shooting range. They try to get 20 plus kills in the shooting range with the sheriffs before they start playing. So it's something they practice, something they're very disciplined with, something they're very good at.
And allow, well, while Perry might have denied away the opportunities of potentially getting an ace, he will still collect 4 kills, and that's back-to-back flawlesses, and yet again, getting deja vu, paper thin, because while it might not have been happening on Haven over at Iceland, there was Newturn, racking up the flawless rounds. When they get moving, once they finally oil up the machine a bit, they will just consistently start tearing teams apart, and that is a scary prospect for Boom. They need to shut this down very quickly when things get out of hand very fast.
Yeah, I mean, it just shows the veteran presence of Solo, very, the old school tech shooter players. Well, okay, Allow thought about getting aggressive flip side, or he's getting in there too. That's 2 for him.
Managed to find 2, but as the blinds come in, Solo will strike back. Makes it a 2-for-2 exchange. Let's see where they want to try to take this. Frostbind trying to cross across, but Johnny will manage to strike him down, so just like that, we're now at a 2-2.
Yeah, Eeyore's position noted. Asterisk as well, not able to get anything going around that corner.
The reaction time.
Just
Allow
incredible.
Yeah, it pushes out of the smoke. Asterisk, he can't even get a shot off. He doesn't even really connect with Allow. He's already knocked down to 33 HP. Johnny gets a little bit of a read here that Eeyore was going to be creeping up through short, but he doesn't manage to win out on the exchange. So this does leave Allow now in a 1v1. The lockdown's going to be used. Allow, see where he wants to try to push this. He might just take the fight to him. Try to get this destroyed. He's tucked away into the corner. Bots it out, tries to get the destroy. Allow though, he's going to be locked down. And here comes the kill. Will scoop that one up. There's a nice attempt from Allow. He thought he had just enough clearance on the lockdown to destroy it. He did not. Still seconds to spare, so boom. They will stop the momentum. They will stay within touching distance.
Dude, absolute 5-head play calling from Asterisk here to set that Cosmic Divide up in a spot where you could sneak the lockdown into that cubby where you can't just shoot it out. That's so smart. That was wonderful there. Hyunny, gets a little bit, over aggressive, and that opens the space there for Boom to win that round. That was so good.
Phenomenally played. We can see a little bit more plays like that. Show us the synergy, show us the teamwork. We try to overcome this obstacle. Get this into a 3rd and final map in the set. Johnny just going to be scouting out through short, whichever you prefer. Blazer just going to be destroyed because Perry got himself moved up pretty darn close. Thunder going to come crashing in. Has managed to get the hit onto the Jets. Flip's just trying to pull out of there. I think he will manage to make it out to safety. Now he's rotating up into heaven alongside Blaze. 2 going to be tucked away in help. Perry in the corner. One-way smoke there.
This is going to be rather tough now for Boom. Asterisk still hanging over by B. I think this might be a full retreat. Yeah, there's just no point. Trying with the Killjoy lockdown there.
Well, not yet.
I think there might be time to save guns. I don't know about this.
Back in, Spray's starting to come out. They at least want to make sure that they have some sights that try to find exits. But with Blaze pulling out of heaven, that is going to be the abandon on the retake. So even though they're only a man down, that is just going to be the end of the round here. So Newturn will again stretch up a 2-round lead.
All things considered, Achilleos, for Boom, that's not too bad of a round. Honestly, you kind of weathered 2 big-time ultimates there with the lockdown and the rolling thunder. You only lost 1 player. You get to keep your guns.
Maintain your economy.
Yeah, I don't think that's bad at all.
At least to a certain extent.
As bad as losing a round, that's like the least bad you could lose a round, right? Like,
yeah. I mean, you can see here, now it still keeps them in this position where they cannot afford to lose this round. That's the thing. It doesn't benefit, they don't gain any benefits, but there's not too many additional negatives. But if they lose out here, we'll be able to get another buy, but then from there, that's when things start getting a little bit dicier for them. Frostbind only going to have the Sheriff behind him for now. Blaze King gets a very early pick on Allow.
I like this aggression from Boom. They're doing such a good job controlling space in A early.
He just wrecked him over at C.
Oh, that's over at C. Jeez.
Oh, wait, or was this out of the garage door? It looks
Out
like
of garage?
Okay. Out of garage door,
heck?
then rotated back into the side. I thought maybe he had pushed out C. He's looking for that X on the map. Finally did it, spotted. So a very nice shot. Pretty much equalizes things. Eeyore.
I don't think Eeyore
on
heard
the other
it.
side. I don't think Solo has any awareness of this, though.
I don't think either of them
Doesn't
knows
really
it.
look at it. Oh, the timing comes through. He actually cleared the vision. That's just a little bit blind. He's trying to recover. Does get taken down by Hyunny. Pushes into the backside, finds Blaze King, and just like that, the advantage is back in the hands of Newton. The Seeker's moving out, but they know very well where everybody is at. Gonna find a third kill as the Seeker's just leading Frostmind forward. Scoop up the Phantom. We'll see if he can get anything done here. Goes for the peek, doesn't see anything. Two going to be tucked away inside of the cubby. Gravity well pulling on him just a bit. Gets that ding. Just now down to 2 HP. Frostmind probably wishing that he played something that had a grenade. Wants to try to go for that push, but Blind will stop him up, just drawing out even more time. Blind not going to connect, gets a headshot onto Perry. Had he maybe been able to get suggested and then transfer spray onto Hyunny, maybe could have made it happen, or vice versa, but either way, he will go down. Hyunny will find 4 kills in the round, and Newturn now move up 6-3.
Well, geez, that was really darn close there for Frostmind. He almost pulled off the impossible in that 1v3. I mean, he had Solo down to 3 health, Hyunny down to 41. Just a really nice attempt. Not much you can do in that situation. Again, even though Solo gets picked off after that lurk through the garage window, you know, he doesn't get spotted by Eeyore. He does get taken down by Blaze, but that opens up just enough space and time for them to take the rest of that site because Blaze is focused back on that alley side.
Yeah. Well, we do have a tactical time here from Newturn. Coach coming in saying, like, okay, guys, we got a solid lead. Let's try to close out this half very strongly. Maybe they should avoid the 9-3 curse. I don't really know. It hasn't been affecting the green teams too much, neither for their benefit nor their demise. So I think they're probably just going to look to full send this and have a dominant half. But it's also a good opportunity for Boom to try to step back, collect themselves, and say, okay, here's what's going wrong. Here's how we correct it, and see if they can regain control of this a bit. They absolutely could still make this, you know, a 7-5, maybe even a 6-6 if they can have a strong eco here.
I can just imagine Newturn's coach going to Solo. Now look, if it's 8-3 in the last round, you know, don't worry too much if you throw it. It's, we just want to avoid that 9-3 curse. No way in heck that's going to happen. Now, an interesting buy here for Solo. He's got that operator in hand. I mean, again, typically you're seeing a Lau or Hyunny with it, but kind of showing some different looks to us today is Newturn, and he's going to find the opening kill.
Wow, yeah. Caught Eeyore trying to lurk out of garage. Lau now finds Frostmind as well. And granted, this is going to be, you know, a bit of a save round. You have the Vandal there from Blaze and a Spectre from Asterisk, but I don't know if they're going to be able to hold on to these weapons. Nebula. Blaze pushes out of it. He's going to be good for 1. Goes on a bit of an escape there with the dismiss. A little bit of a debate with the updraft, trying to make him think that he's up on top of the box. He goes for that check. Doesn't manage to see anything. Doesn't necessarily know that Lau's gotten tucked away in Cubby.
Oof, the flash comes in. Blaze is kind of stuck. He's going to have to use a Leer to try to exit. He's going to be able to get out in time to avoid any damage. Asterisk here. Oh, no!
Just not respecting that potential position. Asterisk finds a kill, finds a very nice weapon upgrade. Now can they find this retake of the C site? Rotation's coming through the A link as Blaze makes his way through B. Asterisk leading the charge. Trying to spot anybody, but everybody from Newturn is playing so far split. I mean, look at Lau right now. He's going to go recover the operator.
I think that is exactly what he's looking for. And with Perry there, as you know, he's already got the star down. He should be able to gravity well. Well, Hyunny, he can just go for the guiding light here, and nobody. That's just a fake tap. And there's Perry, comes right in off the back of it. Ooh, Asterisk does get him though.
It gets that kill, but he doesn't have the time, unfortunately, to defuse the spikes. It's still going to be a round of victory going over to the Newturn. Operator is picked up by Lau. Johnny will stay safe, so with just 2 more rounds to go in this half, Boom. 7-5, be fairly respectable. Should have quite a bit of money now in their pockets to get a full buy going through, or at least pretty darn close to a full buy. Let's see what they can do with it.
I mean, this is just that timeout paying off for Newturn, putting that
fucking hell
Solo to catch that lurk out of garage. You know, they've sensed that Boom was thinking about doing it again since they had a successful pick out of that garage door a few rounds ago. And they were ready for it this time with the operator. Still going to be in Solo's hands. So even though Allow picked it up, he is going to be transferring it back over to the shot caller for Newturn. This time around, no aggressive pushes out of A long for Boom, trying to show a different look here to Newturn. Oh, Blaze.
Right here from the window is trying to look for the headshot. He'll get Solo. Oh, beautifully timed. Knew that he had a small little window of opportunity to strike before the turret activated and revealed his position. He takes full advantage of it. That is exactly the kind of play that Boom needs to get back into the driver's seat.
That was so smart. I mean, just again, you see this all the time. If you can get underneath that window, you're pretty much guaranteed at least one kill. There's great wallbang potential through there. At that time, he's just completely catches Solo sleeping. I assume Solo was peeking towards the top of B or something like that, and instead, he's going to get taken down. Operator in nobody's hands just yet there. It's still on the ground, so I think right now, Newturn's just kind of searching out information, trying to see what's open. They've been hitting C pretty effectively, round over round. Let's see if that's going to be the call here again. There are a couple members of Boom waiting, and that smoke might kind of open things up here, though. Flips, he's got that operator himself, and a Blade Storm behind him.
Blinds come out, Blaze King gonna be forced to pull away. Perfect Divide goes out, Lear through the wall, push comes in, Blaze King looking to get on top of him, manages to find one, takes it to Smith, Frostbind finds the other as Hyunny goes down. Wild Spray out through the Nebula, suddenly it's just two members remaining. Looking Aftershock, but they see the push coming in. Looking to shut down onto Blaze King, Aftershock goes out, but Flipster shuts down Suggest. Fuse coming in, that will be the closeout on the round. Boom, looking to bounce back, saying no, we will not have this be a 9-3.
It's huge, and now they can, rest a little bit easier, maybe get this to a 7-5 here to close out the half, and that opening pick by Blaze is so smart. It makes everything much more difficult for Newturn in terms of knowing where players are. Everybody's playing back on Boom. They're not, Newturn's not able to get that early round information to try to capitalize off of it. They're forced to go to B, which is typically not a site that Newturn is really keen to go towards on their attacker side on Haven. Puts them in a bad situation. And Blaze's timing off that Cosmic Divide to come around, get that dismiss, keep himself alive, give up Frostmind the opportunity to come and get another kill. So smart, so heads up.
Flips now, looking over towards C Long. There's a couple members here. Perry's not even looking in that direction. He's trying to set up stars, and Blaze King, again at the start of the round, finds massive value. Comes up with 2 kills this time around. Allow, however, out onto the site. Kind of behind, managed to find Flip's Jitter. Blaze King have to be tucked away on that right side for now. Spike's been moved up in the hands of Solo. They want to clear this angle before they go for the plant. Knives gonna whiff. Blaze King mows down 2 more. Gets 4 in the round. Solo strikes him down, but now finds himself in a 1v2 scenario. Needs to come out on top, but lurking out from mid through window is Eeyore, and he's going to be ready for the crossfire, I think. Or no, he's actually going to let Solo run past.
Oh, he could have gotten Solo dead to rights. Doesn't matter. Still just going to put one in the back of his head.
If he missed that shot and it cost him his life, he was going to be regretting that trigger discipline for a very long time. But boom, they do get it done. They put up a respectable half. 5 rounds on the defender's side. Now shifting over to the attack. Let's see how they fare.
I mean, so much of this is on Blaze with these early aggressive lurks, getting so much value there, catching Newturn completely off guard, showing them different looks round to round. I mean, even though Boom is down 7-5, that was still a rather solid first half. Nothing to be disappointed with there. Now you're on the attacker side. Now you've got a real chance to come in here, punch Newturn in the mouth, and really just turn your fortunes around. And, you and I have seen it, talk about it earlier, time and time again. Newturn's Haven is definitely had been a weak point for them this year.
Yeah, it's left a decent bit to be desired. And a couple wins on it after Reykjavik, but here we go. Fastest start, Allow. Gets a headshot there onto Flip's Jitter. Blaze King trying to trade it back with that front. Decent amount of damage into the enemy jet. Taken down, heals come out from Hyunny. The rest of Boom now make their way through towards B. Solo on the lurk right here at the C link. Pulls back in the garage. Taken down off screen. Right, finds a good chunk of damage. Solo is looking to Asterisk will fall. Boom. At least be grateful that they can get the spike planted, but with 5 members standing, Newturn